Hey.
Good morning.
Yes. It's a sad day.
It's a very sad Thursday.
It's a very, very sad moment for all of us. But still, good morning. This is Breakfast Daily right here on City TV. And we are live all around the world, online, on the internet. Catch us on Facebook Live, amongst others. But today is a really, really sad day. And we are spending today remembering a very great personality, a very, very great individual. You know him because he was a regular guest on the show. He would come tirelessly every week or so. And
every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, religiously.
Yes. He would be on this program discussing topical issues and helping in the national discussion for policy implementation, amongst others. So it's important that I remember the great Emmanuel Ansah, who sadly passed away yesterday.
Last night.
Yeah.
Last night.
So it's a really, really sad incident. Dziffa, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. It's been a very terrible time for all of us. Oh, wow. And today happens to be Thursday.
Yeah.
So ordinarily he would have been here, you know. He would have been seated right here, and you know, most of the time during the discussions he would be like this. Very passionate, and then when his friend from the other side, being the NDC, Rashid Pelpo, is speaking, he would just be like this, and he'd be listening very calmly. He does not interject in any way, and then he just speaks.
And he was so full
so
of
much
grace.
wisdom.
Right?
Yes.
For me, when I think of the man, I mean, every Thursday he would be here on time. He would, he would be he's such a gentleman, and he was so full of grace. There was not a single topic that we wanted to discuss that he was not open to. Yeah. It felt like he was a part of the team. It didn't feel like we're a journalist and he's a minister, or he's a anything like that, or he's an MP, member of parliament, and it's sad. I mean, when I heard the story yesterday, I didn't want to believe it because I didn't think. I mean, 61. I thought he had a whole life ahead of him, but I think he lived to the fullest. He lived to serve his people. There's no time that anyone needed him that he did not avail himself. Yeah. There are people here who even told me they've known him since their uni days. Yeah. And he was so, he made time for them. He spent time with them. Whatever it is they needed, whether it be advice, support, he would always be available. Yeah, I feel like we've lost a great man. He's always been there for people. And there's not any single person who attended the University of Ghana in the last over 10 years or so who does not, who is interested in politics, who does not know this fine gentleman, Emmanuel Ansah. Really fantastic man. Wow. So that's the man. I think this is one of the last trips he took. This must have been in October when he went to Vienna for some trip.
Wow.
He was just a perfect gentleman.
He was. It's a really sad moment for all of us right here at City TV and City FM.
Especially the Breakfast Daily team, because he would always be with us every Thursday. And I remember there was a time when he came back from this trip actually, and our producer Duke had already booked someone because he thought perhaps he had come in late. He had come in the country late, and he was still going to come first thing in the next morning to Breakfast Daily. And Duke was like, I'm sure you're tired, so you should rest. But he was going to come on the show, even though he'd been traveling from Vienna to New York, got in the country really late. And he was still going to show up. He got in the country on Wednesday and was going to come on Thursday morning for Breakfast Daily. So that was the kind of man he was. He was loyal, he was committed, he was hardworking, he was dedicated. And I still don't believe it. I still don't believe we've lost this great man.
It'll take a while. It'll take a while for it to settle in. I mean, I feel, for instance, that every Thursday I'll be looking out for him because I'm staring at this empty seat and he's always in there. Every Thursday I expect to see him in there. Yeah. You know, usually when we receive like pre-production material before the program, we don't even need to see his name on the list, but we know he'll be there. We know he'll be there.
And I remember after I went to go watch Anas's number 3, and we had a bit of an exchange, and he still, you know,
number 12.
What did I say?
Number 3. No worries, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, so we'll take a quick video and then just to remember this great gentleman. This is Breakfast Daily. Stay tuned.
I am happy. I am happy because at least this is a clear indication that democracy is taking roots in this country. If a man feels his work is being interfered with, he has the capacity to raise the alarm and say, the Constitution permits me to do this. People are interfering with my work. The dark days where there was a culture of silence and nobody could say anything is over. Our democracy is beginning to express itself appropriately. I will not be able to sit here and say my very good friend, my very dear friend, Mr. Domelevo is right, or that the board chairman is right. Mr. Domelevo has stated his case. I think that the presidency has done the right thing. There are always two sides to a matter. Let us listen to both sides and let a fair and an appropriate decision be taken. I would believe that the needful will be done. The Auditor General's office is very important in the cycle, in the financial cycle. You know, after people have been giving money to spend, it is important that we verify. Look, last year's budget was 65 billion Ghana cedis. We give it to ministries, departments, and agencies to spend, and the money, we don't pluck it from trees. It is our taxes, and it is loans and grants. It is necessary that that spending must be validated. Okay, over the last few years, over the last 10 years, we have all been hearing and reading of very scary things. Have you ever been a member of Public Accounts Committee?
No.
But we have been reading and hearing of very scary things about how.
Wow. Of course, we need to recognize that he was a fantastic gentleman and he was very deep. Actually, that's from that particular video you saw, from that particular discussion, is what motivated me to look further into the claims of the Auditor General. You know, he was discussing the Auditor General and says, you know, let's take a look at the other side. Let's take a look at the board and let's see exactly what those issues too are. And I must say, Duke and Dziffa, that from that particular interview, I was motivated to seek declaration and interpretation from the Supreme Court, because initially, you know, certain comments that may have come from the Auditor General may have swayed many people, but he, as the gentleman and the cool-headed man that he was, says, you know what, let's take a look at the other side. And hence the whole me being moved the first time to even take this giant step. We've been joined by Duke Mensah. Duke is he was a loved son, more or less, of the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon. Duke was also JCR president of the University of Ghana at the time when he was also Member of Parliament, and Duke was a really, really close friend.
And Duke is also our producer, so he's the one that actually made it possible for both of us. Ejakon. Duke, how are you? Can you tell us a bit about the man?
This week has been extremely difficult, especially people who have, two people who've guided my life in terms of being people who are up there and can mentor you, who I all got to associate with when I became president of Legon of Paston. First is Ambassador Agriolines. He passed on earlier on this week, and then yesterday night was Ijaku. So this week has been extremely difficult, very, very, and he's a person who thoroughly believed in public service, probably because of the kind of family he came from, because his father was Kwesi Ejaku from Jamasi, the Ashanti region. It's called Jamasi Broni. It's one of the was a big time merchant in Kumasi. He was one of the founders of the UP, the United Party, which has now evolved over the years to become the NPP. So he grew up seeing a life of service from a father who was very politically active, a merchant politician, and that somehow has influenced the life of their family. So all the three of them, their siblings, are all in public life. The eldest, Boachi Ejaku, and then the one who comes after him is Dadzie, who is Dedu, yes, who is ambassador to South Korea. So it's a man who understood public life, and is a man who also believed that you never give up until you get where you got to. He didn't get to Parliament at his first try. On his first try, he contested in Odomasi Krobo, Lower Manya Krobo, and lost to Michael Tenyao. Then he came to Ayawaso West Wogon in 2012, and he won. And it's interesting how I got to know him. His closest. He has a team of 8, and these are people he would usually pick from Tescon at Legon and Mensah. But of course, his affiliation to everybody in Legon was non-partisan. Edem Agbana, who is now deputy youth organizer for the NDC, was another very close guy, a very close mentee of Honorable Ejaku, even though Francis Nibo and so many other guys who were part of the political class at Legon during our time were even on the other side of the political divide, but were still very close to him. And he mentored all these guys, all of us, and is a person who would always encourage you and push you to be the very best that you are. I remember very clearly the last conversation I had with him, and we spoke about further education. And even as we were working up here, we spoke about it and said, well, traveling, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation.
You said he was encouraging you to be a lawyer?
Yes, to go to the law school. Those are some of the last discussions I had with him. And he's someone who thoroughly enjoyed his work. He thoroughly enjoyed his work as a member of parliament. And easily I can say that he is the most accessible member of parliament in the country. The most accessible member of parliament in the country. And wherever, and his constituency is huge. I also West Wogon is, even Legon alone, it's a headache on its own. It's a whole community. Then there's Abelempe, there's Baoleshi, there's East Legon, and even parts of Achimota are all part of the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. And there's a man that on almost all recess occasions, he would hold some sort of town halls with his people to engage them on what has been done in parliament and take feedback and go. But his relationship with students on the University of Ghana campus was a relationship that's par excellence. He would meet people. He would be sometimes in JCR meetings. I can easily say that. He was in some
JCR meetings as well?
Yes.
Wow.
I would easily say that there's no room in Legon that Honorable Ejaku did not go to. There's no room in Legon that he didn't go to speak to students. And interesting, we used to tease him that he's now fulfilling his long-held dream of having gone to University of Ghana, because he was in KNUST. So he's fulfilling the fact that he didn't go to.
What was his humor like?
An easygoing person who tried to
Because I think last time we spoke, he told me he was the president of the Dadzie fan club.
Yes, he did full of life.
Yeah, he said Dadzie is his like favorite artist of all time.
Yeah, and he would, come go to people's rooms, a gentleman, sit on, their beds, have a conversation with them. Sometimes even if they, usually, Commonwealth or Legon, or you come to H Block, boys have gathered and they are having a rice meal. Rice, we usually say cook rice cooker na jeke. That means
rice is ready.
He will be there. He will join people, and almost every activity on campus, almost every weekend, every activity on campus from the whole week celebrations. Unless you didn't extend an invite to him, and probably that's reflected in how wide his margins went up from 2012 and then 2016 elections. 2012, it was quite close. That was his first time, and he got a very good competition from the Honorable Kwame Iwadako. Iwadako contested him in 2012, and the margins were close. But in 2016, the NDC candidate could not come close because people had. This is someone very accessible. He's always there to listen to people. Extremely humble, down to earth. Which member of parliament will come to your room and sit? How many of them?
Eat rice.
And eat rice with you and sit on your bed. He had that personal touch. For me, that's really something that. It's easy to find in most of our politicians.
Wow. Yeah. It's not easy to find.
It's not easy to find.
What values can we learn from him and his life?
For me, the fact that the privilege of education and office must be put to the use of society. For me, that's the first thing. The privilege of education and office, public office, must be used to serve the people who put you there. That's one thing. Secondly, I think tolerance, political tolerance, because, and I don't want to sit here and mention it, but there are a long list of people from Edmond Combat to all the guys, to Edem Agbana, almost all the guys who were in student politics at Legon during our time. And I'm talking about from about 2011 up until 2015 when I left Legon. Each and every one of us has a unique story about an encounter with Ejako. And one thing, every project, one of the things which really got me close to him was that during the elections, he had promised to help us in Legon Hall refurbish our TV room. And it was one of the things that, was one of the issues I campaigned on. So when I won, he had promised it earlier, but I was able to, talk to him, get to him, and he helped us get the flat screen television, which was, at the time meant a lot to us because there was a lot of pressure on myself. I was an Annex A boy from that one, and so I had got an opportunity to be president. You had to change, and people who've been to know the essence of a TV room. Yes. In a university block like Annex A, and he blessed us with that, and almost every hall who embarked on a fund project. That was one thing which was in vogue, because almost all the buildings were without funds, and because obviously it wasn't built for the number of people who are in now. So for convenience, and there was most JCRs at the time embarked on a fund project, fund having ceiling funds in the
like fund FAN
ceiling funds
fund project,
and almost every hall that embarked on that project got at least 50 to 100 funds from Honorable Ejako. Yes.
Wow.
Almost every hall, and there are pictures to this, and all the people who were JCR president and JCR executives at the time, and are watching me, would bear testimony to that fact. So, you would see him. He will walk on campus alone. When he sees, he will be the first. And when I even left school and I became parliamentary correspondent, sometimes you would, but he's the one who would call you.
Yeah, and there are not many like that actually. No, some will even pretend as if they don't know you.
They don't know you.
Probably he's in the coffee shop or whatever. You're passing by, of course, journalists snooping around to see if you can get somebody interview. You call, you say, Duke, how are you? We say Mr. President, because JCR President. We still call him Mr. President. Duke, Mr. President, JCR President. That's what. And then we will talk and have a hearty conversation and move on. And his PA is like my very best friend when it comes to politics.
This is a huge loss for the country, I must say.
And take heart, Ma Lydia and Asari. Like some of the two closest people to Ejako.
Because it's one thing to be a great politician and another thing to be a phenomenal human being.
Yes.
And as I'm listening to you, it sounds as though he was human first before even a politician. And I think even when he came back from his last trip, he held a town hall meeting with his constituents.
The people of
Abilimpe, you know, just engaging them. He was on the ground. He wasn't the kind of politician that you couldn't access, right? And he lived a life of service.
Yeah, the market women, you go to the markets, people don't have stores working, he'll get them renovated. And that's the kind of man who's gone. That's the kind of man who's gone. And
how did you get him on Breakfast Daily?
Okay, so I called him up. Called him up one day and said, Honorable, we started the TV. You know, he would come on. He used to come on Big Issue. That's the first thing. And I told him we started TV. First, I spoke to Kweku, who is a speaker, and found out how's Honorable schedule like. So Thursdays, he has commitment to another station. I don't want to mention. Thursday mornings, he has a commitment to another station. He doesn't like breaking his commitments, but try. So I called him and said, Honorable, we've started our TV. You know the kind of relationship we have. One of the producers. Can we have you this Thursday? He said, I said, no, this Thursday. So he came here the first time. I mean, after he left, we had a discussion, his feedback about the conversation he had. And then the evening he called me and asked for further details so that it could be put in his diary and made a point. And I mean, as producers, we do a lot of things. When you had not called him a Wednesday by 5 o'clock, he would call you.
Wow.
Yes, he would call you by 5 o'clock, and this was like clockwork. He would call you at 5 o'clock and say, Duke, 8 a.m. I say yes, Honorable. Duke, 8 a.m. That's what kept ringing in my mind. Duke, 8 a.m. Which is, that's the time news review starts. So you're supposed to be here before 8. So I say, Duke, 8 a.m. And I'll say, yes, Honorable. I say, I'll send you the topics when they are ready.
And he was always here on time?
Yes, always here on time.
And his contributions were always very thoughtful, very deep, and meaningful. I mean, he was on top of issues all the time. Not a single time did he fail to contribute meaningfully to a national discussion. So, of course, he would always be remembered, especially every Thursday on this program, and forever he remains in our hearts, in our minds. Our deepest condolences goes to the family and loved ones of Emmanuel Ansah, Honorable Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon. And we do hope that, and we do pray that God Almighty comforts or sends the comforter to comfort the family and the loved ones. Dziffa, it's well. Anyway, he's fondly remembered. I think it is a difficult time. It's a very difficult time to do a show, but we do remember him. Anyway, people, keep your messages coming in with the hashtag Breakfast Daily on all social media platforms, and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832. We are remembering a life well lived, the life of the former Member of Parliament, or the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon, Emmanuel Ansah, a fantastic gentleman. Last night we lost him, and a really, really great treasure to this country has indeed been lost. So keep your messages coming in. Soon it will be time for news review, and that's going to be a really difficult time, because Thursdays around that time is when we see him, seated here with us and having this very important national discussions.
And I'm actually sitting in his chair.
Yeah, you're sitting in his chair.
This is where he usually sits.
And he's comfortable there.
Yeah, and he'll sit here, and he has such a big presence, but he has a way of making you feel comfortable. Like he'll come in, he'll sit down, he'll listen. He was not one of those people that if you send him topics late, he'll complain. I almost never heard him complain.
No.
Ever. And he would laugh with everyone.
Yes. After the program, he would just have good discussions with even the camera crew. Anyone who approached him, he would just laugh, shake your hand, smile with you. Everything was fantastic. Those who wanted to take pictures with him, he was just open to everything. Fantastic gentleman by all standards.
And I even remember when his brother was, when the incident happened, he didn't mouth anyone.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who took that situation very seriously, but he still remained a gentleman through it all.
Yeah, conducted very, very sensible analysis of the situation. Without emotions, without, I mean, people were expecting him to say all sorts of things, but he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was, that's just, you know, he more or less epitomized wisdom, because he did not maybe side with maybe the president or his brother. He was just very calm and collected
through it all.
Spoke to the issues.
Neutral through it all. And he was just an amazing soul. I mean, we'll be trading Lumba songs. I went to the Lumba concert. He was not around at the time, but he was like, "Oh, I wish I could be there. How is it going?" You know. And for me, he wasn't just a politician, right? He's someone that we should all aspire to be. Like, no matter how high or how successful you become in life, you should still be grounded. You should still be humble. You should still be approachable. And he was one person of all the guests we've had, him and Pelpo. Like, they were a unique match, because they would sit here, they would respect each other's views. It wasn't as though Ejaku is listening to Pelpo just to disagree with what he's saying. Right? So he was still able to empathize with Pelpo. Right, whatever point Pelpo would make, and vice versa, right? So, for me, I think that when we look at his life, we should all be inspired, right? And even in these couple of months where he was not feeling well, he never, you know, made you feel as though it's the end. Right?
Yeah. You were at the hospital.
Yes, I went to visit him. And he was fine, right? I mean, he missed, I think, the Thursday after his trip that he was supposed to come, and you booked someone else. Yes. So the following Thursday, I think he was supposed to come as well. So I asked you, why couldn't he come? And you said he had some health issues. So I sent him a message right away, like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm at the hospital." And, you know, I thought he would want his space, but he was like, "Oh no." I was like, if you're okay with it, I would like to come see you." He was like, "Don't worry about it, just come on over." You know, so I went there. I went to see him. He was okay. He got up. He even walked me walked me out, right? Like, when I was done visiting him, and he looked fine. You know, so it's sad, but I think it's a lesson for all of us, right? Embrace the people in your life while you have them. As a nation, we need to make good use of our human resources. So the people like the Jackal, right? We should really, really make the best out of them while we have them. We shouldn't wait till something happens before we celebrate them. We should celebrate them while they are alive. We should let them know that we value them. We appreciate the life of service that they've given all of us, right? The contributions they've made to our national development, and just be a bit more human in everything that we do.
Okay, so I think share some final comments from you, Duke, on. I mean, I would say that he was a father figure too, especially everyone in the University of Ghana.
And
he was more or less
city,
like a father.
right?
Figure.
Everyone
and the
at
messages. I mean, and the messages from her. I mean, it says it all. It says it all. I mean, just when you have the opportunity to represent people, just do it to the best of your ability, and make sure that you make an impact. No matter how. I mean, this would have been his 6th year in Parliament, and easily would be one of the most remembered member of Parliament for the House also. But and as a person, as a human being, the kind of lives and even the kind of people he has invested in for the country's political future, both in the NPP and in the NDC. I don't want to sit here and start mentioning names, but it's remarkable, and it's to his credit as a person. But being in office should not be an opportunity for you to lord it over others. You have to be grounded, you have to be humble, you have to tolerate other views, and just be a human being.
Wow.
For me, that's what Tijakun taught me.
Just be a human being. Thank you. Thank you so much, Duke. And again, our prayers are out to his family, his friends, his loved ones. All of yesterday, my timeline was just, my news feed filled with shock from people our age range, right? Just saying, we can't believe this is happening. This is how he touched my life. And I think there's a post about someone in his constituency who visited him and the lady passed away, and him even just sharing. He was never afraid to be vulnerable as well, right? So I think we should learn about humanity from him. Anyway,
so up next is the news review for today. Stay tuned. This is Breakfast Daily. Quick reminder to keep your messages coming through. Hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832. Do not go anywhere.
Let's take you on a journey of discovery, the incredible sights, artifacts, music, and adventure. It is what makes life worth living. Our history, the arts, and soul. Art and Soul with Melissa Award. Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Only on City TV.
Art and soul, art, soul, art and soul, art, yeah, soul. Art and soul, art, soul, art and soul.
Manifest your glory as we come before your presence. Hello everybody, this is Enyonyam. Keep watching CCTV Breakfast Daily.
welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on CCTV. We'll start with the news review, starting with the headlines, actually. Let's start with the daily graphics. So the daily graphics is here. No policy on no tin, no free SHS. So there's no policy for it yet. That story is on page 16 of the daily graphic. Deputy AG defends construction of National Cathedral. That story is on page 23. Peace in sight. Danis and Abudus agree to roadmap. President declares, I have no candidate for Yana. That story is on page 3. Montier 3 remission was lawful. Supreme Court rules. That story is on page 16. And finally, government will support tour revival. That's coming from the energy minister, and that story is also on page 23 of the Daily Graphic.
Now let's take a look at the Ghanaian Times this morning. It says, President, Chiefs crack Dagbon deadlock. Funerals of 2 Yanas to be held at Bewa Palace. And the full story is on page 16 this morning. And also, ex-President Rawlings speaks exclusively to Ghanaian Times. Post the NDC Delegates Congress. On page 18, you will see a story that says, mobilize domestic revenue to fund budget. And this is coming from the IFS.
Okay, now let's take a look at the new crusading guide. It says here, junior road care held for school children. That story is on page 4. Peace in Dagbon at last. New Yana to be installed. Funeral rites for both late Yana Mahamadu Abdullahi and Yana Yakubu Andani to be performed. Stories on pages 3 and 10. Government swerves men's gold customers over locked up cash. Kingmakers of Ngleshi Alata warn Ngleshi Alata warn imposter chiefs. Word of Life Gospel Church battles estate developers. So those are some of the stories in the new crusading guide.
Now straight to the Today newspaper this morning. I have no candidate for Dagbon vacant throne. And this is coming, of course, from the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Muntie 3 freed. Well, they were already free, but there's been a confirmation of the presidential pardon. GN Bank begins second national tour to strengthen indigenous banks. So that's what we have on the front page of the Today newspaper this morning.
Okay, now let's take a look at the Chronicle. The Chronicle says here, students canned for non-payment of PTA dues. That's caned, actually, for non-payment of PTA dues.
Wow.
Who does that?
Wow.
That story is on page 3. Dagbon embraces peace. Otunfo says he won't tolerate anyone who wants to hold kingdom to ransom. That story is on pages 8 and 9. Long road to peace in Dagbon. Read Ebo Kwanzaa's analysis tomorrow. So those are some of the stories in the Chronicle.
Now let's jump straight to the Custodian, which says, name your economic management team. Sibe Adwoa mocks NDC. There's a picture here of Dr. Marcus Adwoa, who seems to be taunting the National Democratic Congress, or at least their members of parliament, in this regard. Government creates 5 new districts, and a full story is on page 2 this morning of the Custodian. Another story here says, court decides on National Cathedral, January 16. So the full story is on page 2. You can see the plaintiff has been slapped here. Kabila, James Kwabena Bonfair, he's a plaintiff in this case. Dumso not back. Greatco assures Ghanaians. Well, there are still many complaints about people or from people in respect of erratic power supply. So if Dumso is not back, then please solve the things that's going on. Relief for Ghanaians in 2019. Ken Oforiatta, Minister for Finance. And the full story is on page 6 of the Custodian.
Okay, now let's take a look at the Daily Heritage. The Daily Heritage says, press freedom under threat in ER, I guess this is Eastern Region, as GJA seeks justice for journalists remanded without fair trial. So they're seeking press freedom, and I think it's about time, right? Press freedom under threat in the Eastern Region, and we should never. I mean, freedom of press should be a guarantee.
Yeah,
like it's not something we should fight for.
It is actually in the Constitution. It is indeed guaranteed.
So it's not something
freedom
we should fight for. NLA pays 30 million Ghana cedis into consolidated fund for 2017. That story is on page 2, and 2019 budget commendable, says IFS, but cautions government to anchor planned infrastructure development on long-term national plan. That's an interesting one as well. And of course, National Cathedral suit Supreme Court sets date for judgment. That story is on page 5. And Mahama Wright in Muntie 3 pardon, also on page 5 of the Daily Heritage.
Well, we are glad the Supreme Court has set dates for the National Cathedral issue and also for the creation of new regions, you know, the interpretation to those particular provisions. Now, let's take a look at some online stories reading from citynewsroom.com, your most authoritative website when it comes to news. It says here, minority fights government over moves to employ more staffers. And also, Health Ministry bans codeine cough syrups, restricts access to tramadol. So that's also a solid step. People have been mixing codeine, cough syrups, and Sprite. We are so informed. So that has been banned. So you should read the story, the full story on citynewsroom.com. Another story here says, we've begun payments, call of planned demo, men's gold to customers. Well, the customers are tired of the promises from Men's Gold, and they're asking the government to bail them out. Chor seeks $3.5 billion to build new facility in Pram Pram. And finally, no one influenced our work on Dagbon roadmap to peace. This is coming from Otumfo Osetutu. He is the Asantehene, and he led the eminent chiefs to the Jubilee House, and they had meaningful discussions or concluded meaningfully on the Dagbon crisis.
Yeah.
So we'll start off by introducing our guest for today. We are expecting Richard Ahiagba of the NPP. He shall be joining us shortly. But in the meantime, we are joined by Anthony Nukpenu. He is the Greater Accra Regional Organiser of the NDC. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning.
How are you?
By the grace of God.
You have a cold as well. What's going on?
You know, the environment, the weather has not been good for me.
It's as well.
Manage.
You'll be fine.
Thank you.
Well.
So let's look into our first story.
The weather is very
also
horrible
have a
now.
cold. What
Yes,
is it?
somebody sitting on my right gave me a cold.
Who
Why
can
mention your
possibly
name?
give you a cold?
Somebody sitting on my right gave me a cold. Anyway, now we do want to start off with our first story,
Yes.
but we just want to quickly some comments about last night's sad incident. We heard sadly of the death of a really honourable member of Parliament, Emmanuel Ansah.
Yeah, good morning to your cherished viewers and morning to yourselves. Well, I happen to know Honourable Chairman Dadzie. We've had times on several radio panels, and many a time we meet and we speak Krobo. I'm conversant with the Krobo language, so anytime we meet, I will chair then. And I always enjoy that he shouts when the debate is intense. Then he will bring some shout. So I was on Peace FM yesterday when the news broke out. I was really sad. In the program, I couldn't even continue. I have to walk out because this is somebody I have a close contact with. So I never heard of his sickness. And it's quite Thursdays I used to watch him seated here and he'll be babbling his way out. It's really a sad loss. We can only wish the family our heartfelt condolence and the Ghanaian fraternity, because he's a lawmaker and he has paid his dues to the Republic. It's really unfortunate that's happened so we wish him a journey to his maker. God knows why at this time he needs to 61 years, I think. It's a quite life well lived. We will cross our fingers to see how the family puts the pieces together for the befitting burial. I'm just having headache because this is calling for a by-election. And we all know the tension in by-elections. Something I've been praying never to happen. And it's happening in my region. So I've just been having headache since yesterday. But we'll put our ass together and see how best we can manage the situation. And if the Electoral Commission declares the seats vacant for political parties to file, see how they will play the game to see whether we take over or they sustain it.
Okay. Fantastic. Anyway, now we'll go on to our first story.
Yes.
In respect of the Dagbon crisis and the roadmap thereof to peace.
So I'm reading from page 3 of the Daily Graphic. It says here, peace in sight. And Danis and Abudus agree to roadmap after decades of a protracted chieftaincy dispute between the Andani and Abudu royal gates in the Dagbon traditional area, the path is now clear for a peaceful process that could lead to the enskinment of a new Yana in the area, in an unprecedented move after the assassination of Yana Yakubu and Dani II on March 27, 2002. The three eminent chiefs, led by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu, presented Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II presented a roadmap which spells out the processes agreed to by both the Andanis and the Abudus to the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at the Jubilee House in Accra yesterday. So briefing at the meeting, Otumfuo said that they are hopeful that after the 18th, the process will start, and God willing, after a few days, we will have a new Yana. So he goes on to say that funeral rites will be performed for Na Mahamudu Abdullahi on the 14th to the 28th of December this year. And then after 1 week respite, he also said that the Andanis would also hold a final funeral rite for Yana Andani II from January 4th to January 19th, 2019, and thereafter 4 recognized elders will sit in seclusion and consult the oracles who will guide them on selecting the new Yana. And I must say that we're all really happy that they finally have peace in that region. But let's hear your initial comments on this.
Oh, thank the Almighty God for bringing us this far, and commend the eminent chiefs for the work they've done for almost this work started in 2002 to today, almost 16 years. And I think they've really come far. We can only hope and pray that what is in that document and what is on the table materialize to fruition. We wouldn't like to see tomorrow some group of people coming up with another version to create another uneasy tension in that area. Yesterday, I watched the brief ceremony at the flag, the Jubilee. And I've seen all the key stakeholders who were somehow accused in this whole sin also be at the venue to show or give their support to it. So I think the roadmap that have been set, we are only praying that come from 14th, the Abudus will take charge of the Gbewa Palace, perform whatever is due them in memory of the late Yana Abdullahi Mahmudu also. Then come from on the 4th to whatever, and then also take over in that peaceful atmosphere. And I believe this will be a collaboration between both Abudu and Dani in performing the Abudu side and performing the Andani side.
But things may not also be as peaceful as it may seem, because there are still some dissenting opinions. We could hear the Asantehene, for instance, saying that, you know, where one of the regions where regents were not present at the event, and he called, where is he? They said, oh, he's sick, you know, when you're watching the video. And then he says, well, he asked the person to be here, the person is not here. And he said emphatically that he would not allow anyone to interfere with the peace of the region. He says when him, Otumfuo Osei-Tutu, is not even alive anymore, Asantehene will still go, Asantemine will still go on. So things are not too smooth, and there are still calls for 2002 was when Yana was murdered. Yeah. So, you know, the Andani is also asking, are we letting it end over there?
Yeah. And how do we ensure it doesn't happen again?
Well, I think for now, as the report is out, the state has a lot to play, and the political divide. All these things also have political leaning. Yeah. And I think the political divide must also be committed to it, because nobody benefits from the continuous tension. It's staggering development, poverty is on the rise. What are we benefiting? Installation of an overload. You will not allow it. You are killing yourself. Your people are in absolute poverty. Is that what they want? Yes, if you cast your mind back and look at the antecedent, what happened for the Yana to be killed, you will not be happy, but he's gone. We can't continue living in the past while people of present day are in poverty. We need
but how do we also ensure that we don't repeat the past? Because if we've not completely healed the wounds from the past, it might happen again.
Coming this far did not come by a day. I think several talks have gone on, motions have been calmed, and I believe they should just look up to God. Vengeance is of the Lord. If you want to remember the past, yes, you say remember the past to guide you, but some past will not guide you rightly. So they shouldn't create any atmosphere to get into their children. Because I think one of the effects, or one of the things that have played all this while, was how the old Yana was ousted out of office. So, but somebody said tit for tat. 1-1 draw. Let's end it.
Oh, but that's not...
But a crime has still been committed.
A crime is a crime.
For the criminal aspect, we are still calling on the state to see how best.
Yeah, I mean, there's a growing sense that maybe the state does, or the law enforcement agencies, they do indeed know exactly what happened, or at least they have a sense of direction, but they've decided in the name of peace to just let things go. Because there's so many witnesses. For somebody to be beheaded in such a fashion, there's so many witnesses.
This generation
as well.
It shouldn't happen. We're not talking about this.
The continuous search for that,
18th century.
Which many a times innocent people are being arrested, bring up tension. Nobody is ready to pinpoint the real perpetrators. The police moves in, the state agency moves in, and the people they pick are said to be innocent. The moment they are freed, tension brews. Where do we start from? Where do we end? We need to just say, fine, the crime has been committed. We can't find the real perpetrators. We can still bury it.
We should still you feel we should let it go?
For me, if it's me, I will just free my heart and leave it to God. Because that's the only way tension can come down.
But if not everyone will be like you.
Yes,
there are
that's
people who would want some form of closure to actually acknowledge
His
that
wives
you
and
did
children.
wrongly. I mean, you don't behead someone in the 21st century. Do you get me? So there are some people who would want closure to be able to move on peacefully. Without having that pain in them.
But don't also forget that closure, if I should be arrested as the real perpetrator and also be taken to the same measure, my family, my descendants will also feel something. It brews another tension. So any way you want to get to the conclusion of this situation, you go and hurt another person's and tension will come up again. So I believe,
so for you, we should just let it go.
Vengeance of the Lord. The families should just have certain cool hearts and say, enough. Let's look at the generation that are coming. Let's look at how we grow our community. Development should come. Poverty should be eradicated. People should have better living. And let's leave it there. And God should take the rest and deal with whoever.
Okay. Now, we mentioned earlier that we were going to be joined by Richard Ahiagba. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us, but we have been joined by Kofi Ameyaw, who is a member of the NPP Communications team. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Not too good.
What happened? You have a cold as well. This is an association of
cold panel.
It's more than the cold.
What happened?
We've lost an illustrious son of the land. A very affable man. Respectful, helpful, resourceful. Honorable Emmanuel Ansah. The first day I spoke with him, he suited my heart because I didn't know him. And I wanted to interview him on the show that I was hosting in the United States. And I was actually looking for his brother. And then, when he held the press conference, promises made, promises broken, and all of that. So the manner in which he was able to get his brother to speak to me and speak on the program.
And he didn't know you from anywhere?
He didn't know me from anywhere. So we will miss him.
How long ago was this?
That was in 2016, before we came to power. And I'm also aware he's a a regular panel here.
Yes, he comes here every Thursday.
So, yeah.
Religiously.
We will miss him.
Yeah.
It's a great man.
Thank you.
That's why I'm sad.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for other reasons because the Sana Hydro, the money is in. Roads are going to be constructed.
Please, I'm not interested.
Fortunately, we have not. Unfortunately, we haven't touched on that topic. So right now,
you asked me how I'm doing, and I'm
we're not
talking about how you're doing now.
So where are we now?
Peace inside. We're talking about what's going on in
Dagbon, yeah.
Yes, and Danny's
and
Abudu's
you guys know today is my first time on the show.
We know that,
you
but we came in. Okay.
Let's
Akua, welcome to the show. It's your first day.
Give you some tea.
Would you like some tea?
Do you want some biscuits?
Yes. Do you want some candy?
But,
okay, let's continue with the topic because you did show up a bit late. So you start off by apologizing to our viewers.
Definitely. It's not characteristic of me. I'm very punctual. I'm sorry. I am extremely sorry because I've been looking forward to this moment to be on the show
for your whole life.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately, I was late.
It's okay. Let's focus on the issue, yes.
Yes, and let me say good morning to my friend here.
Good morning, my brother.
You have just 30 seconds, so let's use it wisely. Just let's talk about the issues.
The Dagbon issue.
Yes.
I think it's a very huge step in making sure we have a lasting solution.
You don't have 30 seconds. You have more time. So
lasting solutions to this issue. You see, the Dagbon issue is very sensitive, and it started even pre-colonial days.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it goes way back. You see, the unfortunate thing is they are brothers. They are Budus and they are Ndanis. Their father is the Yana Yakubu, the first. So when he died, they needed to rotate the who becomes the king or the chief. So they set up a 4-member committee to enskin who becomes. And I think somehow it became a problem between Mahamadou Abdallah, who died, and then the Yana Yakubu Andani, who was also murdered. And that has degenerated into a lot of issues since 27th of March 2002 when he was beheaded and his body was dismembered. A committee was set up, Wako Commission was set up by the former President John Ajay Kufuor. They looked into it. The one who beheaded him was found. He was prosecuted. Unfortunately, in 2011, the issue went to court and some of the people who were prosecuted were acquitted and discharged. That did not go down well with the people, especially the Andanis. Yeah. Today, there was also a committee. 3 eminent chiefs were set up by John Ajay Kufuor again 12 years ago to ensure that they will be able to find some peace. What was very important was the fact that the chief, the Abdallah Mahamadou, his funeral needed to be performed. That was not done. And their palace is the Bewa Palace. Unfortunately, the Andanis were saying, no, we won't allow you. And then the Yana also was murdered. And then the Abudus were also saying, no, we won't allow you to perform the funeral rites. So that has generated into a lot of issues for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, even in 2015 and 16, the Andanis and the Abudus decided they are not going to partake in the committee's settings anymore because they feel that the funeral rites shouldn't go on. But fortunately for us, and thanks be to God, yesterday, they've all agreed that indeed they will allow the funeral rites because that is the stepping stone to ensure that there's lasting peace. I want to say respectfully that it doesn't have to take eminent people. It doesn't, because I know in 1930 and in 1948 there were committees set up by governments, even the colonial masters, to ensure that they solve this issue because Dagbon, the kingdom has been there for almost 600 years. Do you understand? So for me, for them to get peace, for them to experience the peace and development they want, and like my brother was saying, and for them to be able to forgive, it depends on them, not political leaders. Not political.
But they do need mediators, don't you agree?
It's important, but they've had mediation, like I said, since 1930s. Do you get it? Even last year, they had mediation to the point that they had to call off the mediation because they were not making progress. So for me, clearly, peace depends on them, and that they have an opportunity to rewrite history. Because Dagbon, the Dagombes, I have lived with them when I was in Kumasi, Akotela. They are illustrious, they are industrious, they are prominent in our society. The Andanis and the Abudus. They have a fine opportunity to let this generation, the next generation, to write about them that it was in our generation, it was in our time, it is in our time that we were able to find lasting peace, not peace that maybe in the next 10 years we are going to have another issue when there's a year now also die. So for me, clearly, the peace depends on them. The fast forward movement of the Dagbones and the Dagbon, area depends on the people, the Dagbones themselves. Not for me, with the greatest of respect to all the political characters that have come into play. From about 3 presidents, they've tried to resolve this issue, but for them to resolve the issue, it depends on the people.
But it's been a long time, since 2002 now. So perhaps maybe we need to increase our level of mediation, not just leave them.
We haven't left them, to be frank. Yeah. I told you the WACO Commission, the roadmap for peace for Dagbon. So
it doesn't just depend on them then. We all need to get involved.
But most importantly, they need to decide, because let's say, for example, the funeral takes place December 14 to 28 for the Abudus, for them to perform the funeral rites of Muhammadu Abdullah the 4th, and then the Andanis decide to do something else. What will happen? So for them, it depends on them.
No, the mediation is very important.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think we can go for a commercial break now, but I'll just a quick thought. Would a possible solution not just be maybe to divide the land of Dagbon between the Abudu and Andani? Would that not be a possible solution?
Who takes where?
Yeah. Yes, so they decide that another
recipe for disaster.
Anyway.
Okay, you want to go
yes, after the break, we'll talk about that. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. We're discussing what's going on right now at Dagbon. Let us hear your thoughts with the hashtag Breakfast Daily on the WhatsApp line.
0550-585-832.
We'll be right back.
City TV is live. City TV is a free-to-air digital channel. On a digital TV, please press menu on your remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a multi-TV digibox. Tune into City TV and experience your world. City TV, it's your world.
Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily right here on City TV. We are in the news review segment, joined by Kofi Ameyaw. He is a member of the NPP Communications team and the regional organizer of the NDC for the Greater Accra region, Anthony Nukpenu. Now we'll move on to our next story.
Yes, the next story is all about free SHS and 10 numbers. So no policy on no 10, no free SHS. The director of the Revenue Division of the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Anthony Jadra, has clarified his earlier statement that children and wards of parents and guardians who do not have tax identification number will not be allowed to benefit from the free SHS. He goes on to say that, I want to state emphatically that it is only a proposal that has been made to Parliament and it can be approved or rejected. I did not say that it is a policy that will start in 2019. What happened is that a journalist posed a question to me that he had seen something in the 2019 budget that said parents will need 10 for free SHS. So I came in to explain the essence of the number. I went on to say that it was a proposal that had been made and that should it be approved, it will not be difficult for parents to get the 10 because they can go to any GRA, that's the Ghana Revenue Authority office, and get it. So he's saying he never said it was a policy. He was just saying it's a proposal to Parliament that they can either accept or reject. Let's hear your initial thoughts on that.
Well, I think that clears the issue. When we all heard it, we were taken aback because I don't see how a TIN number could be a stoppage to somebody benefiting from free SHS, because I can just cast my mind back to someone on Dadzie Island. How does he get a TIN number? He has no business. He's a farmer, pizza farmer, and that son or daughter have qualified to maybe admission to Donkokrom Senior High School. And say because he has no TIN number, he cannot access free SHS in Donkokrom. So I believe, having come out to clear, I think the policies should be look at. Yes, it's good that everybody gets TIN number, but we in the city center, look at the struggle we even go through to get this common TIN number, which is free. It tells DRA that you are not doing enough to let people have access to it. So some of these things is good. Every Ghanaian is rolled onto such platforms. And for Ghanaians to get onto it, it is about government prudent measures to make sure we can access it. I should be able to know where to walk to get registered on TIN number. If at my level, I'm struggling to get it, can you imagine the hawker on the street?
But you do have a TIN number.
I have not gotten it yet. Tony.
You don't have a TIN number?
Why?
Are you serious?
He has not gotten it yet.
Why?
Okay, okay.
I've gone to do the process and I've not gotten it. It's my fault.
Okay, okay.
So your government should step up and should not let me go into politics. This morning,
yes,
my good friend Dadzie is lying.
No, Emmanuel Chemanting, sorry.
Emmanuel Chemanting,
yes.
Our chair is gone. So I don't want to do politics. But you are trying to draw me into this politics.
Okay, so we'll not, I think you're done.
Yes.
Just close your...
The issue is clear. I think we should leave it.
It's fine. Okay, but you do agree that the policy in itself is fine. The only issue is it should be more accessible so people can get the TIN.
Like Ghana Post GPS, which is another huge problem. This in government action on it right now. Yesterday I saw a timetable of how NIA is going to roll out the mass registration in all the districts in Greater Accra, and people are asking, how do we get Ghana Post GPS? We don't know who is in charge to make sure the people in the communities get that address to be able to. So these are things I think government communication should be forthcoming for us to also educate. We are ready to help, but your action is too slow.
Okay, so we'll go to you.
Dziffa, the truth of the matter is that the tax identification number is extremely important. In every advanced country, you need some form of social security number or the other. In fact, in the UK, when you go there and you haven't registered for your social security number, they will give you something they call the TN, temporary number, then your date of birth.
Okay.
In the United States, the first thing you do, especially let's say you win the lottery, or you go there as a student, or when you have a work permit, the first thing you must do when you get to the United States is to get your social security number, because that uniquely identifies you who you are. When you also go there and you want to access any form of social service, whether social or commercial service, they will ask you what's the last digit of your social security number. So as for the TN, it's extremely important, and government effort to formalize the economy falls under one of these things, because we need to broaden the tax net. We don't have to continue burdening the ordinary person, the people, existing people who have been paying tax. So when there's an increase in tax, it affects those people who already pay taxes. And then the people who are not paying, go scot-free and all of that. But majority of the people who are not paying are the same people who are benefiting from the social services. So clearly the idea of getting the TIN is a good one.
But is it fair to tie it to free SHS? Because you mentioned social security. No one tells you you need to get social security because we will give you free education, free healthcare. You understand that for me to be identified as a human being in this country, I need a social security number, right? So the way it's presented is different from saying without it.
For me, we are being too harsh in the way we are presenting it. It's true. Again, in the advanced countries, for you to even get your social welfare, any form, like unemployment benefits, maybe when you have, they call it WIC, when you have a child, they will give you money and all of that to buy food. You need a social security number. In fact, right there, when you give birth, right there, the child is assigned a social security number. But again, I am saying the idea of tying and bringing the free SHS today was extremely unfortunate, and even his revised statement is also unfortunate, because some of us, we would demonstrate, even if it's suggested to Parliament.
You would demonstrate.
You are saying the idea of tying the tin to free SHS is very unfortunate.
Why?
One, first of all,
but this was suggested by the finance minister himself.
Okay. I'm a Ghanaian first.
Well, yes, exactly.
I'm a Ghanaian first to begin with. If not for education, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. We would all not be here.
Looking at my background, my family, if not for education, I wouldn't be sitting here at the end of the day. So if a government has come and is making sure it will take all the boundaries away to ensure that we all have free SHS, secondary level of education, I think it's a good thing, and nothing should be a prerequisite for it. No matter
so why
what.
are we proposing to tie free SHS to 10?
Again, it's a proposal. We will shoot it down. We won't allow that.
Why?
It's a proposal by the finance minister, and we will shoot it down. Who are the we?
There has been several proposals. At the end of the day, they didn't see the light of day. This will be one of them, because the free SHS is the apple of the eye of this government, and we are not going to do anything to make sure. And when our friends here do get the opportunity, they will use propaganda.
But before we get to your friends, you do agree, you did mention that we do need to widen the tax net, right? But I think just 1.5 million people pay taxes. But get to your point, and let's see.
My point is, you see, the person who we think doesn't have the thing, for that reason, that person's child should not go to secondary school. It's not true. They're already paying taxes.
How?
They pay income tax when they have their stores, even though they might not have their things. They pay the AMA, the KMA. They come there, they take money from them. It's not part of the tax. Don't we pay indirect taxes like the VAT when we go into the services of these things that has the VAT component on it? So we are already paying the tax. And like I said, it's a harsh way of creating the awareness, telling people. I know they want people to, join the bus and everybody to have a thing. But for you to bring in the free SHS, and I can understand where he was coming from, because free SHS is huge. People it's expensive. Not just the cost of it, but the fact that when you mention free SHS, everybody would want to know what is coming out of it. So if, for example, you say, okay, if you don't get the thing, your child will not get free SHS, there will be, in his mind, the rush for people to go and get it. Because if I don't have it, even though that is also free, my child might not have it for not doing something that is virtually free. But again, just like Tony said, not all the people are aware. I'm not too old, but one thing I have known, there was a policy that we campaigned, and there was an education on it, the CD redenomination. I don't understand why we cannot use the same effort, the same processes, the same attempt in educating our people when we want to change the status quo. Because the CD redenomination, the education was massive. It was clear. It was comprehensive. Everybody understood it. So if you want to widen the tax net, why don't we use the same way the redenomination was used to ensure that everybody gets educated, and then at the end of the day we can get the thing? I don't know why we always want the path of the least resistance. We don't want to spend so much, because this one, if you spend, at the end of the day, there's a possibility that you realize the money, because people will be brought onto the net for it to be
okay, so what's happening in effect is that the finance minister comes to Parliament and suggests a policy of the tin being tied to these social interventions, including free SHS. Then subsequently, the education minister denies same on the same floor of Parliament. And now the consensus, I believe, since you're a member of the communications team of the NPP, the consensus is that this is not going to be done. So what the finance minister said in the well-thought budget for 2019 is not going to happen.
Government policies are not rigid. They are dynamic. The fact that government wants to do something...
see it in Parliament in the first place.
The fact that government wants to do something does not mean government should not change their mind. You guys
but these are projections, right? So when you are telling us what you will be doing, that's what we are measuring you by, right? We think, okay, we're going to get this. This is going to happen. You would think that someone within the team would have said, okay, let's take this out because it's not necessary. But it's been out. Yesterday we discussed it right here on Breakfast Daily, right? And today we're saying something else. There's no consistency there.
The budget is the policy direction of the government. And policies are subjected to change. So the fact that there's a suggestion or an idea to make sure we tie the thing to free SHS, and for even the finance ministers to come to parliament and suggest that people who are accessing social services would need to have the thing. It's good. But at the end of the day, it's we the people, the good people of this country, who will decide whether a policy is good for us or not good for us. For example, even though I know this government is committed to building the cathedral.
So you mean the finance minister did not consult we the people before going ahead with the budget?
Policy dynamism. At the end of the day, there can be a policy suggestion. In fact, they can devote money for that particular project. But when it comes to the public, and the public do not want it, because government is by the people, for the people, and for that matter, if they don't like it, it doesn't matter how good. And I'm saying that the thing is good. It's good that when you are, going for any form of social services, including even the LEAP and all of that, you need to have your thing. And I've maintained that in advanced countries, you cannot get any form of social welfare without having a social security number. So it's extremely important. But free SHS is too young for us to be doing this work.
We're going to use a cathedral example.
Like I said, yeah, the cathedral example, it's in government's budget. We are committed to making sure this cathedral will come to see the light of the day. But at the end of the day, if the discussion back and forth, and we can hold on to it, we hold on to it and build it another time.
We've had discussions before.
But I'm just using that as an example.
But we had discussions before the budget. It was still included. We even added seed money.
It can always, because
and the secretariat.
Again, you see, let me re-echo this fact. The budget is a policy dimension. And policies can change at any time. So government can decide to do one thing, and then at the end of the day, it can also decide not to do it. So for me, I was about to make an example. When they promised the one premium insurance by the NDC.
By which policy? Which policy?
Oh, you said it in your manifesto. You said it in your manifesto. Hold on. You said it in your manifesto. The president's address to the nation. He also mentioned it, okay? But at the end of the day, did we see it? It didn't happen. So these things do happen. It would have been good, but it wasn't feasible.
That is not a fact, though.
Okay.
What's not a fact?
Let him give his closing remarks, your statements, your response, and then we'll continue.
So I think consensually we can deem this as a confirmation from government communications that there's been a backtrack, no thing attached to free SHS.
It's still in the budget.
No, according to him, it's a projection. And this is one of the items that they are pushing out.
We should see the Minister of Education or Minister of Finance putting a paper withdrawing it from the budget, so that when the budget is approved, we don't see that line.
The necessary attempts will be made.
But to be fair, we have not heard from the Finance Ministry that there's going to be a backtrack on this particular decision. Any official communication has not come out here. So let's just... Anthony.
Your brief response.
One. We promised a free one-term premium, free national health insurance levy in our manifesto, but never did we put in a policy to Parliament to approve it. The President's State of the Nation address mentioned that he was committed to put a committee to advise him. The committee came up with a roadmap saying it is not feasible. We came to the people of Ghana, told them, look, you were not in Ghana, you just arrived.
It doesn't matter when I was in Ghana or not.
Kofi, respectfully, allow him make his point, and you can
respond.
Thank you.
That was withdrawn in our first term in government. It's a public knowledge. Two, I was trying to say, since there's an information on this whole thing, we should let it lie low. But you see, the bone of contention is the disagreement between your ministries. Finance Minister, who spoke on the authority of the president in Parliament, because the budget is on the authority of the president. It's the president's budget. Is saying A. Then the same sector minister, another sector minister who is in charge of education, is also disagreeing. So I find it very weird. What was the agreement at cabinet? Because these are cabinet ministers. The budget was discussed at cabinet, they approved it before it was read. So this whole government is autopilot, Matramakwe. You see, let's push something. Let's try and push something and see the public reaction. That's not what they've been doing. Many of their policies, they come when there's a heat, they run back. Look at this nice roto clericals on the road. Today, some people are saying, let's bring it back through the back door. But because they are youth, the NPP youth raise alarm. Today, look at the carnage on our roads due to negligent
cars being left on the road.
So I think everything that you are introducing, there will be back. People will talk about it. Ghanaians, especially, we don't like change. Change is good for everybody. All I'm saying is that let's get it to the communities. How will the people assess it? I'm concerned. People are on islands, Dadzie Island. When you go on the Afram place, 12 islands. All these people, they are the real beneficiaries of free SHS because of the poverty level. How would they get this thing for their children to be on? If government rolled it out and they get it, it's not anything. This is no problem.
So your biggest issue is with the processes involved. Let's streamline it and make it easy.
It's something that we should all encourage. Everybody should get a team. But not to say if you don't have it, you don't get this social intervention.
Thank you very much.
Just to jump straight to this particular story on citynewsroom.com, it says, well, we began payments call off demo. This in respect of the Men's Gold customers, but we have also heard from
the finance minister. There's a story here in the New Crusading Guide, page 3. It says, government swerves Men's Gold customers over locked up cash. And this is a finance minister. He says, as I look at the Ministry of Finance, I see some people who are at the Ministry of Finance who have invested at Men's Gold. I look at Bank of Ghana and I see some people who have invested there as well. Of course, the military, etc. He goes on to say, I think it is not in the place of government to fund or get your money back for you. It was an obvious trap that you went into. Maybe we as an industry should also put the whole issue of education and empowerment so that people do not fall prey to that. So it looks as though government is not going to help the depositors of Men's Gold. They really are on their own. Let's hear from you first, Anthony, then we'll move to Kofi.
We are yet to hear Men's Gold says they don't have the needed fund to pay their clients. Until that is being told us, the finance minister's claim to as if they are to get the money to pay these people is neither here nor there. We need to hold institutions to check.
No, but the people have asked the president to even step in.
Who has asked the president?
Yes, the depositors.
You went and put your money somewhere.
Yeah.
As your the one who took your money or who you bought the gold from told you doesn't get the money to pay you. Until Men's Gold declares that they have no money, where government must take prosecutorial actions in putting people behind bars to make sure assets are confiscated, auction and monies are raised. Then we say, okay, we have X amount of money. We need Y to add. That is where we can say government should be looking at the options. But that is not yet done. Why should government be interested in this?
But it appears from the finance minister's statement that irrespective of whether Men's Gold declares that I can pay or I cannot pay, government is not willing to help.
And he even goes on to say that.
Government has no business in helping. Government has no business in helping. If I were a customer of Men's Gold, I should be looking up to Namuan and his team. How you get me my money?
And that's not payments.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How you get my money? SCC, which is SEC, should be telling us the processes that they are they are trying to sort with Men's Gold. You see, if informations are coming forthwith, I think customers will be relieved. But if things are getting stuck somewhere and customers are not abreast with what is happening, all this is happening because of the panic reaction. Because government has moved in. Look, this is a Ponzi scheme. Your monies are in bad hands. You are going to lose your investment. So, as an investor, I'll be alarmed and rush and see how I can retrieve my A or B. This is what is happening. So, SEC should be telling Ghanaians what they've uncovered, whether this whole investment is really in a safe account somewhere, whether. So when all this is out there, then customers can also be relieved and be taking the information from Men's Gold. Rather, Men's Gold is telling us people should relax. They'll pay.
They've been saying this for months now.
Nobody is seeing their books of account. Nobody is seeing what is in their kitty. And government is trying to play a game, taking some money to go and put some and go and do some sharing. We will not agree.
No, I don't know how we
can't confirm that. Anthony, we can't confirm that. We can't
some 13
confirm
billion
this.
Ghana cedis being used to resuscitate defunct Unibank
banks in general.
Defunct banks. But we are not being told how much was in their accounts before government took over.
Okay, thank you.
And how much was recovered?
Yes. Thank you very much.
I'm sure after the entire process,
thank you.
People to go and pocket some money.
Thank you very much. These are all allegations that we cannot confirm.
No, but I think he's making a fantastic point.
They should tell us how much they recover from these banks before how much government should add.
But to be fair, the recovery is still being done. Cases are in court. KPMG is in court. Almost all these banks are also in court. So the recovery is being done. The liquidator is in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tony,
after the court procedures, we can decide on this.
You are done. Thank you.
No, I tell him.
You told me he was done.
Yes, we tell him.
I was just reminding him.
Thank you very much. Now, the issue here is that government decided that we are going to, it was even part of the campaign promises, that we are going to bail out DKM depositors. So why are we not doing this for the other? Because the policy is almost the same for all these financial institutions, all these other financial, and it's not just Men's Gold, mind you. There are many other financial institutions that depositors are having problems with right now. So why DKM and not the others?
Why DKM and not the others? It's obvious.
DKM did not pay though.
No, they have indicated they are going to pay.
Anthony, respectfully, so please allow Kofi to respond.
The Men's Gold did not register with SEC. They did not register with Bank of Ghana. DKM registered with Bank of Ghana. Do you get it? So there's a huge difference here. So now the Bank of Ghana and the government has a responsibility to take care of the depositors. That is why we committed almost 10 billion Ghana cedis to about 1.5 million depositors.
To be fair, even if not registered with the Bank of Ghana or SEC, they were registered under the Companies Act.
Yeah.
They were also registered
under registered by the state.
And they have billboards all over.
But you see, in this country, we live by the rules of law. The reason why we pay DKM is because under the Bank of Ghana's policies, we were supposed to have taken care of these people. We need to safeguard their savings for them. That's why we came in to help them. With regards to Men's Gold, that's not the case. Of course, probably you might say government should go and find money somewhere and just go and pay the Men's Gold because they are Ghanaians to begin with. But that should not be the case. That should not be a path you suggest that we take. Somebody, lure somebody to take money from them, and then at the end of the day, we realize it was a Ponzi scheme. Okay, and I believe that, just like Tony said, Men's Gold has not come out to say they don't have the money to pay the people who came to invest in their company. I don't think any bank has come out to say they don't have money, especially those banks that were consolidated. They didn't come out to say they didn't have money to pay their depositors. But at the end of the day, we realized they couldn't pay. So we are hoping that Men's Gold will be able to pay depositors. But that notwithstanding, it has to be made clear that as a people, we need to get educated on where we put our money. Do you get it? It's unfortunate that our financial, environment is weakened as a result of the mismanagement of the economy by the NDC. It's extremely unfortunate. And this government is taking the audacious and the bold step to fix the system. In fixing the system, I know it hurts. It's like you are in surgery. You might get hurt, but at the end of the day, when the surgery is done, you feel better. Ghanaians will feel better in the financial sector. They should just exercise patience. And at the end of the day,
regulators also should have ensured that companies without proper licenses don't exist.
Unfortunately, we had the Bank of Ghana,
a
governor that did not ensure that the proper thing is done, unfortunately. But having said that, government is continuing. So we have come. We are ensuring that the right thing is being done. And we will also forever ensure that Ghanaians' money are safe. And then when you invest in a bank, at the end of the day, you should be rested. Imagine the 1.5 million depositors. If they had lost their money just like DKM, what would have happened in this country? So we should praise this government. We should commend this government for taking such an audacious and bold step.
Anthony,
go on.
Kofi, please continue your statement for the benefit of our viewers.
Yeah, okay. So for me, clearly, unfortunately, I sympathize with, customers with men's good, because I can imagine that maybe your 10,000 or your 15,000. Just recently, I saved with UBA, and I went to use their MasterCard to withdraw money from Car Bank. Unfortunately, the money did not come. It's taking me 45 days. I still haven't received my money, and I can imagine. I know what I go through. It's not a huge sum of money. It's just 300 Ghana cedis. Well, I won't say just, but it's 300 Ghana cedis. So imagine somebody who has 150,000. 100,000, 10,000, 20,000, expecting that at the end of the day he will get something. Maybe it's his life savings. Yeah. So this is a serious matter. And unfortunately, we are here because of some.
Thank you very much, Kofi. We have received some messages from you guys, so I'll just read them briefly. Pajo of Big Shoe says,
the NDC.
Thank God President Nana Akua has issued an executive order on the final roadmap for the restoration of peace in Dagbon. Ghana is truly working again under competent government. Hi to Mame Soja of Kwadaso. Nana Kwame also says, good day, champion host. Thank God there is peace in Dagbon. I hope our brothers give peace a chance this time. Love them all. Long live Dagbon and His Majesty Otumfo Oseitutu II. Hi to Nana Dadzie of Kwadaso. There's another message here from Mystic inside in Sawem. He says, so now this NPP government can give conditionalities like IMF. Without tin, you can't access health insurance cards. Without tin, you can't access free education. They will it to you with right hand and take it with the left. So Mahama did nothing unconstitutionally wrong concerning the Muntie 3. Hooray. So those are some of the messages. Keep your messages coming with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line
0550-585-832.
But thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with us.
Thank you for
Nukpenu and Kofi Ameyaw.
Yes, we are done. Stay tuned to Breakfast Daily. We'll be back shortly.
They say lies in the eyes of the beholder, and at Second Image, getting that beauty is our priority, with services for facials for spots and wrinkles, body treatment for body shaping and slimming, hairstyling for bridal dressing, body massage, artificial nail extensions, guarantees you that perfect body and skin. Second Image also offers training for students in hairdressing, beauty therapy and fashion, and design up to HND level. Our course duration ranges from 2 to 6 weeks for short courses or up to 2 years. Second Image also runs a special foundation program for JHS leavers in hair and beauty therapy, dressmaking and electronics. Contact us now on 0243-331-999 or 0302-221-376, or you can locate Second Image next to Adamaka Police Station, Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, or visit us at secondimagegana.com. Admissions run throughout the year. Second Image gives you a new image. Second Image, be empowered to succeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
The 5th All-African Music Awards.
Merci infiniment. Thank you so much.
Afrima Ghana 2018 is here in partnership with the African Union Commission, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Republic of Ghana.
This goes out to all the musicians in Ghana. That's a surprise.
Who rules the continent and owns the 23.9 carat gold-plated Afrima trophy?
Is what, Afrima?
Cameroon 237 in the house. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Wow, Africa is gold.
Tanzania!
Be there from November 21st to 24th, 2018 at the Accra International Conference Center and Independence Square, Ghana. Afrima has come home. Afrima, for hope, for celebration.
Thank you, Afrima. Thank you, Africa.
At 10, we swept you off your feet with the Lion King production. Now we're 15, bigger, better, and ready to put up something even more spectacular. It's the Tema International School 15th anniversary play, a stage adaptation of Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Come, let us treat you to a magical musical experience as we bring the Disney's animation to life on stage. Venue, National Theatre, Accra. Date, Friday 23rd November 2018. Play starts at exactly 7 p.m. Rate, 70 Ghana cedis. Tickets available at TIS Campus, CTFL, Starbites Community 8, Accra Mall, Whiteley's Body Basics and Ender, Airport Shell, Bachona Total, Spintex Road, and Community 11 Shell Shop. All proceeds go to Student Community Service Projects. For ticket reservation, please call 0244 611 572 or WhatsApp on 0503 849799. It's Tema International School with Beauty and the Beast. 23rd November 2018, National Theatre. Be our guest.
Technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship offer opportunities for growth and job creation. Under the distinguished patronage of the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center presents the 17th edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards. This prestigious event to honor 100 companies blazing in respective industries will be held at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, on Friday, the 23rd of November, 2018 at 6 p.m. Sponsors Olam Ghana, GCNet, M&G Pharmaceuticals, Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Imexo Ghana, Newmont, Goyle, MTN, Casaprec, and ABL. Media sponsors Radio Gold, Omnimedia, Daily Graphic, Ghanaian Times, Gold Street Business, Multimedia, and GBC. Limited tickets are available. Contact the GIPC head office on 0544-332-086 or 0244-318-252 or via email at ebaja@gipcghana.com. Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
Jakoro Ventures Limited is the waste service provider franchised by the AMA to provide services within Osuklote Sub-Metro. We also operate within Zone 2 of the Adentan Municipal Assembly. Our proficient refuse and segregated waste collection crew ensures timely and quality service delivery at every service point. Our friendly management and supervisory staff are always available on call for our cherished clients. We engage in partner organizations to clean up the city and beaches as part of our corporate social responsibility towards making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Embark on public sensitization and educational outreaches on environmental and sustainable waste management options. We advocate reuse and self-separation of waste, paper, plastic, and organic, to which value can be added through recycling. Smega 16 award-winning company in waste and recycling manufacturing. Implementing partner to Mayor of Accra initiative on waste segregation in basic schools in Osuklote. Jakora, the waste management professionals.
Sapphire, in collaboration with Aqua Safari, present KSM Unchained.
No, slow down, folks. You see, when it comes to NPP NDC politics, it's pure genetics. It is called by their names, you shall know them. Oh, you think I'm lying? Let me mention one name and tell me if you know which party, huh? Okay, take this. Famous Akodonu.
Unchained and Uncensored. December 7th at the National Theatre. Time 4 and 8 p.m. Rates 60 Ghana cedis flat for 4 p.m. show. 80 Ghana cedis regular for 8 p.m. show. For limited VIP 8 p.m. tickets, call 0266-699-249. 0266-699-249. Media partners. Sponsors: Ghana National Theatre,
Cactus Creek, Faye Gift Shop, Inkit, Food 101, Ticket Outlets, Bachona Total, Starbite East Legon, Airport Shell, Silverbed Cinema, Accra Mall, East Cantonment Pharmacy, East Legon, Ghana National Theatre, Faye Gift Shop.
Ebeya Wild Rough, KSM Unchained and Uncensored.
I know do them anything, yeah. She was saying, yeah, if you wish me far and go to hello. What's up, it's your rockstar Kwame Eugene. Keep watching CTTV Breakfast Daily. Don't go anywhere. Rockstar. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily right here on City TV. And right now it's time to discuss some entertainment. We have been joined by Adwoa, Sarkodie, Mensah, and Kwame, Dadzie, from our entertainment desk. Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning, Spiky.
Yeah, you look amazing, both of you.
Thank you.
Yes. Good things happening in the entertainment industry?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know whether to say good or bad. I think it is not good news to some people in the industry.
It's always bad news to some.
To some people.
Definitely. I would have initially wanted to touch on the whole Shatawale village comment, but then I'm not even going to glorify that statement with a full discussion.
Exactly.
I just think it's sad and we should just throw it away somewhere. Anyway, now let's talk about, politicians. Okay, we just finished a news review, and then, while we're doing the news review, I'm thinking, politicians and, sometimes how they use or utilize, that's a fair word, how they utilize, some of our people in the creative arts industry, musicians, actors, amongst others, and what happens to them eventually. I think I'll start with you, Kwame. No, let's do ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first. Always.
Ladies first.
So politicians and artists or musicians. This is a way politicians, even in the United States of America, yes, we can campaign. Obama, he used musicians.
Did he use them or they volunteered?
They volunteered, but they were part of making history. Yes, we can campaign. They pushed an agenda of a first black president in the United States of America. So brilliant. But lately, Rihanna and Trump. Trump decided to use Rihanna's song in one of his campaign. Please don't stop the music. And she was not having it at all. She was very upset, and she took to her Twitter and she went crazy. I think I went to an event 2 days ago and I spoke to Gasmila, who also expressed his disappointment on how the politicians here in Ghana use them all as political season. And after the political season, they just dump them.
You were telling me about that particular interview. I think we have a report on it.
We do.
Yes. So we can take a look at that report, if that's okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, so Gasmila has, something to say about being used in in politics. Entertainers being used in politics. Let's take a quick look at that particular video.
I think the government just sees musicians or the creative arts to be tools. They use us for campaign. But when it comes to campaign or the campaigning aspects, they see what we have. But after that, they forget that we have a lot of power. And I think that they should go back and rethink it, because you see, you don't just sell a country. You can sell a country through music and arts, tourism. It's all part of music. So music is all part of tourism. So I think that they should go back and do something. See, Nigeria was known for 419. I don't know who gave them the idea to push music and the arts. Now their movies and their music have sort of changed the perception of everybody. People want to go to Nigeria because of the music, forgetting that Nigeria used to be #1 when it comes to 419. So music, music and arts could change the way people see a country. Get me? Anywhere I travel and go, the moment I say I'm from Ghana, they ask me, what's up with the Black Stars? It means that stuff like that, sports, entertainment itself, can actually change the way people see a country.
Of course, Gasmila is very outspoken when it comes to most of these things. And straight to you, Kwame. What do you think of what he said in that interview?
I think he's right. You see, for a long time, our celebrities, anytime they're used by the politicians, these politicians win power and they don't kind of care for the celebrities, the creative artists. And we've seen this for a long time. Not one particular government or political party. It's been with us. But I think it's getting better, but there are some people who still believe that politicians don't really take the creative arts seriously. Now, there is a recent development, actually, an incident where this guy who composed the Bobolebo song is out saying there is another version of the song which has John Mahama's name in it. So apparently it's a song, a campaign song for John Mahama.
Yeah, actually they were playing it, I think, at the ground. Last weekend.
Exactly. And his song is, I can say, the most popular song at the moment. So everybody's attention is on it. And he's expecting that if you want to use his song for your campaign, at least you should seek consent from him. And this is intellectual property. This is right. Okay, so if you do the song without consulting him, without seeking his permission, it means you are infringing on his right.
Yeah, I seriously thought, you know, prior to him coming out to say, I seriously thought they had, you know, sought his consent, you know, or paid him in a way to use this particular song. So it came as a surprise to me when we were all hearing the news about, you know, you have used my song without even consulting me, amongst others. This has been going on for years now, and it's about time, you know, most of these artists actually took action.
Yes, and I believe that if we treat our artists or the people in the creative arts with a lot of respect, and we don't infringe things on them, I think the creative sector can open so many doors for Ghana as a country. Music has no barriers. It has no language. I can be listening to a song from Afghanistan. I might not understand the words in the song, but I rock to it. Because it's speaking to me. So that's the power of music. That's the power of drama, movies. As I said earlier on, the first time I saw America was on TV. I had never been there before when I was younger. And I made sure in uni, I told my mom, I want to go to America because I've seen tall buildings. I've seen people going to the shops, buying this, buying that. America was appealed to me through movies. So if the government pays better attention to the creative sector, I believe first and foremost, it will improve on tourism. Secondly, it will put Ghana in a big light. Look at someone like Kiddy, Kwame Eugene. There's type of songs that they produce for Ghana. It's beautiful. Somewhere like Nigeria, they've capitalized in their creative sector from Nollywood to their music industry. And they're getting a lot of money from there. United Kingdom. United States, Hollywood, Bollywood, they are all capitalizing. Don't you know Indian movies?
Of course.
Don't you know some Indian song? And they go like that because they made it appealing through their movies. So I think we should sit down, put pen and paper together and restructure and give the creative sector a body. That's all we need. We need structures and we need body, because what's the essence of talent without structure? There are
indeed structures, you must say, but it doesn't appear that the structures are doing much for the individual artists. There's GAMRO, there are all these structures already in place. Actors Guild, you know.
But I think what we need is government fashioning out policies that would drive the creative arts industry. And this current government, for example, promised that was going to create a secretariat for the creative arts. So a creative arts council for the whole sector. But as we speak now, we've not seen anything of the sort. According to them, they're still trying to pass the creative arts bill before they can just get a council for us. And so it appears the subsects of the creative arts they kind of not organized, well organized, and we don't have the policies to drive them. Okay, so that's one thing that is actually not helping the creative sector. But I also believe that, you know, there is this mentality of the Ghanaian that people in the creative sector are less educated, they are unintelligent and all that. I think it stems from that. So
Gasmela did say that they're using them as tools.
In the minds of the ordinary person, if somebody is a musician or is an actor or is a dancer, he's seen as less
intelligent
because he did not go to school. He's doing music, but there are some people who are really educated. EL has a master's degree. Manifest.
Very well educated.
Yes. Was it Floating Stone? Floating Stone is a biochemist. That's one of the hugest labs in the country right now. So it's a wrong notion for people to think that way.
I think we need to accept the fact that creative arts is not for less intelligent people. It's not for scatterbrains, as some people think it is. And you need to be very smart to be a musician. You need to be smart to be an actor, to be a painter, and all that. So let's create the awareness, you know, and it starts from our schools. How seriously do we even take creative arts courses in our various schools? On all that.
Do we have creative arts courses in our maybe and there's drumming and dancing, cultural, there's something there's a course like that, yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the basic level.
You know, we don't have the people who are well versed in those areas to teach them. So if it is time for, let's say, creative arts course in the class, a teacher who doesn't really know, who's not well versed in it, comes, just brush it off, and then it goes away. But if you would get people who are well specialized in areas, music and all that, as it is done in most of these international schools, the private schools. But in the public schools, you go there and then, even if it's time for, let's say, creative arts course, the teacher comes in, they sing 1 or 2 songs. And that's it. And that's it.
That's it. Okay, fantastic. Now, I want us to move on to another story, another topic, but I want us to, wrap up on this whole creative arts and, these artists feeling like they're being used. Because I find it, even looking away from entertainment, looking at it even from political lenses, you seek to come to power as president of the republic, and then you take a person's song, you change the words, put in your name in there, which is a gospel song for that matter, not even a secular song, a gospel song for that matter. You put your name in there, and you do not compensate the person who made the song. Maybe a defense would be that I didn't make the song. One of my supporters may have made a song for me. But then, on hindsight, you should make sure that the person was compensated. This is not the first time you've run for office. You've been vice president, you've been president, amongst others. And we hope this is also not repeated on the other side of the coin as well. Anyway, so I think we can wrap up on that discussion. And let's talk about Afrima. What exactly is Afrima? We've been hearing a bit of Afrima. So, Nana Sarkodie, tell us, what's Afrima?
I'm very, very excited about Afrima because Afrima brings all the 36 countries in Africa together. Last year was Nigeria, wasn't it? Or Nigeria did it for 3 years, and they did an amazing job. And now it's in Ghana, and Ghana, we're supposed to host them for 3 years.
For 3 years?
Yes, I spoke to Catherine Afeku, who was extremely excited.
The sector minister?
Yes, she was very excited, and she guaranteed me that Ghana is ready to host Afrima for 3 years. She guaranteed me the hotels are ready, the artists are ready, everything is ready. So I have a video for that. So if
please, then let's take a look at that report really quickly. It has to do with the sector minister speaking on Afrima.
The priority is not on creative arts, but this platform will showcase the business side of creative arts. America is America because of Hollywood. Nigeria has picked up a lot because of Nollywood. If you go to South Africa, it's tourism. Namibia, I can name them. Kenya thrives on tourism. But it's not just the tourism part of seeing a location. It's the music, it's the food, it's the dance, it's the makeup, it's the artiste. And that is what we are trying to use this huge Afrima platform to share with the rest of Africa. That you can actually take a vacation in a safe, secure, friendly country. And you can come as a celebrity to have a show. But it's time us as a people believe in what we have. And this platform, this Afrima gift will inure our people to celebrate for a few days, to put aside the sweat, the tears, the worries, and enjoy the talent of their sons and daughters. That's all. How many times will you and I see Nasty C? But we'll get a chance to see him thanks to Afrima. But let me give you my secret. Soti Soul from Kenya. They're coming down. Are you ready to boogie? Oh, yes. Thanks to Afrima. Diamond Platinum from Tanzania. I do. And they're coming. But see, they won't outshine our children, our sons and daughters. Shatta will represent. Stone will represent. Adina, Sark. You name them. Ampedu. The old and new. Kidi, Kwame. Many, many more. But they will complement their brothers and sisters from the other side.
Okay, so from all the countries around the continent, they shall be gathered in this country. So it's going to be a huge event. And when exactly is this, Kwame?
It's already started. Actually, the business summit is from this morning to 4 p.m. They have a music village, kind of a nominees jam at the Independence Square later in the evening tonight. So it's actually a very good thing. All Africa Music Awards, and already most of these musicians are in town, and we are looking at how this is going to impact the tourism sector, the creative arts industry, how people in Ghana are going to benefit from this. Okay, it's not just like we are coming to have an award scheme and then give out plaques and then that's all, but how are we going to benefit?
So that's something that we should be discussing and proposing to the ministry, for instance, or that's something the ministry maybe they need to sit down on the ground and think through for themselves.
And government has actually helped supported in this, even though the minister declined disclosing how much they gave to the organizers. We need to know actually, but she didn't tell us. But we know government is part of it, AU is part of it, and they are making sure that it becomes a very good event. But after the show is done, are our musicians going to benefit? How? Apart from the fact that they're going to meet other musicians from other countries, maybe exchange contacts and then network. What else? Hotels, food vendors, events organizers, and all that. Are they really going to benefit from them? I think that should be of much concern to us as a people in the creative arts industry.
Okay.
And
now, touching on Afrima, I'm wondering, it brings to mind the sense of paying a foreign artist or an artist from maybe Nigeria or South Africa, paying the person more than our local arts will be paid. So how does this feed into Afrima? Do you think it's time that the local artists demanded full payment or similar or equal payment?
I do not know the payment structure. It's not been disclosed to me, so I can't go without proof to say the foreign artists are being paid more than the local artists.
Not for this particular event.
Not for this particular event. I think here, once again, it's to do with structure. If your structure is not strong, when you go for a meeting, you don't have a right management, you don't have right marketing team, you don't know what to ask. You actually don't know your value. So you go and settle for less. And that's the difference between some artists here, the new breed. They are actually adopting that. Someone like Kwame Eugene, even Shatawale, believe you me, Stoneboy, they understand structures. That's why they are reaching Sarkodie, they are reaching heights. That's maybe someone like, I won't mention a name there, the old ones have not reached because their structures are right. So with going back to Afrima, you were talking about what would our artists benefit? You said networking. Networking is extremely important in our type of industry. Networking is everything and good name is everything. We sell ourselves and our product is our talent. If your talent is your acting, that's what you're selling. If your talent is how you speak well, that's what you're selling. And if your talent is your voice, that is what you're selling. Combined with your reputation, that's what will get you far. So talking about networking, if maybe Kwame Eugene must have met someone from Tanzania who has an open door. They collaborate. Their music goes wider than Ghana. If someone like Kempinski, the hotels, they will fill the entire hotels here in Ghana because there are lots of people. Food vendors, they will get more money. Even makeup artists, because the award show, people need to get their makeup done. Me, I want to get my makeup done, so I'll go and book a makeup artist. Give her money to make me look classy for the event.
You're really not expecting, let's say, someone from South Africa or Tanzania to bring their own makeup artists amongst. So I think it's a fantastic point.
And even our fashion.
Many other sectors would also be affected by such huge events as well. But I think in respect of that, I think it's about time that maybe the local acts use this particular event to say that collectively, we are not going to take less than this particular amount for any event that you're going to invite people from outside, because there should be a fair structure of payment. Yes, and then all the artists should just adhere to that particular decision, because you can't have an event in Ghana without a Ghanaian artist. So then the organizers of the event will be forced to bend to the will of the artists on the bill.
I think we need to look into that, maybe how much each of these artists are taking actually on the nights, and compare whether the foreign artists or those coming in are taking more than our local artists here. I think we need to do that. And
I mean, agreeably, they should be paying maybe a bit more because they're traveling. Just like if we go there, we should, at least there should be some fairness.
And we should also find out whether all these people you mentioned, the makeup artists and all the other people who are working on the day, are truly people who are being employed from this country. Okay, we shouldn't be surprised to hear that maybe they took somebody from Nigeria or from Tanzania to come and do sound or stage for us. Okay, I'm just saying we need to find out all this, because if we are hosting, then we should have the capacity to get all these people on board, so we know that Ghana is really hosting, and then we are benefiting. Okay,
Okay, so this is going to be, this should be like the hugest thing for now, because it's going to be for 3 years successively. So it's going to be difficult. If the first one flops, we are in trouble.
Big trouble.
The first one flops. So what are some of the mishaps that you see happening at some events that we are hoping does not happen at this particular one?
Mishaps.
Okay, let's have it.
Mishaps. I'm actually thinking maybe the organization. The organization, the timing is extremely important. Time is money and time waits for no man. And if you invited host countries to come here and you say something is supposed to start at 4, you know the soiree that we went?
Yeah.
It was a bit late.
It was late,
I was quite disappointed.
What was the soiree? It's supposed to happen late in the evening.
No, but the time, if you say it's 6, it should happen at 6. If you say 7, it should happen. But
so it was supposed to start at what time?
At 6.
5.
And it started around 6:30, which was 7, which was unacceptable. We are the host country, so we have to put our best foot forward. So timing is the first in organization. And maybe, even though we have hotels, maybe we might not have enough quality hotels. And that can raise issues. Because you want to, as I said, you want to show your best to your neighboring countries. You don't want to show your worst. And also, payments. Payments of, maybe you talked about makeup artists. They might book a makeup artist here, pay them less than someone they bring from Nigeria. Because I know some of the musicians, some of the socialites will fly down their makeup artists. Because I know celebrities, when they walk, they don't walk alone. They come with their whole
entourage.
Yes. So I think it's a wise idea, as Kwame, Dadzie and yourself said. We need to, after this, investigate the money allocated to the vendors, makeup artists, the sound guys, to see if it really did add to the country and if it really did raise our pockets here in Ghana. So
fantastic. Yes. Okay, now still on mishaps. What are some of the mishaps you hope do not happen at this particular event?
I don't want to see a doomsaw on the day of the event, Saturday.
That is very embarrassing.
I don't want to see that. Embarrassing. Yeah, because I remember, I think a year or 2 ago during the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, something of the sort happened. I don't know if it was a technical problem, but there was light off. Okay, it was quite unfortunate, but I don't want to see that happen on the night when we are hosting all African musicians. Okay, it will be bad. So they should also see to that, and then security as well. Sometimes when you're going for some of these programs, security becomes a problem because there are times that they deploy the services of people from other countries. People who don't understand maybe English or our local languages. So you go there, they humiliate you as a pressman or as a patron to them. Yeah, we've seen that in the past during the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. But
you're trying to talk to the artist.
If you're trying to get your way through to the auditorium, okay, the security presence over there, we need to get people who are doing their work all right, but who are also very professional in their work. We need to do that. We don't want a situation whereby people will be harassing people at the entrance and all that. So security is another thing. Timing. Tonight they're having the nominees jam sort of the village at the Independence Square. I think the day and the time isn't so right for me. It should have been maybe on tomorrow, Friday. So people go there, chill, because the nominees jam of a sort, about 125 musicians.
Putting on Thursday.
Yeah, a lot of artists on stage performing, and you do that on Thursday. People will go there.
People have to go to work on Friday.
On Friday, you see, it's kind of bad. I'm just looking forward to having a good show tonight. They should just close on time so workers will go back.
Well, speaking of the nominees jam, then I think maybe there's a little question mark in planning that particular aspect of it. You know, Friday would have been fantastic.
Perfect.
You know, especially if you want the numbers and you want the sort of people maybe you want to see at that particular event. You know, I think it'll be better if it was on Friday. Now, other things you mentioned. Electricity, power supply. Now, sometimes too we have issues with sound. How does that work for you too?
With sound, sometimes things like that, you can't help it. It depends on how big the venue is and how well you've put together the sound. I'm not a technical person, so...
But it should be pre-planned, don't you think?
It's pre-planned. These artists will go and do mic checks. They'll go and rehearse. But sometimes things happen. And you can't, even with events that we have, sometimes we can prepare as best as we can. But you should always give a little room for mistakes. That's why Doomsaw, if there is Doomsaw, they should have generators on standby. So as soon as there is Doomsaw, generators come on, less than a few seconds. And that shows how serious we are. So we just have to put measures in place whereby if mishaps happen...
There should always be a plan B.
Yes, there should always be a plan B. And I hope they have. because tonight I'll be there and my 2 eyes will be open, my nose will be sniffing for anything that is not listening. Because this is a big deal for Ghana. All eyes are on us. All countries will be watching us. It will be on DSTV. It will be on so many platforms. They'll be watching the beauty of Ghana. They'll be watching our talent, even our food, our fashion, our culture. So we want to put, once again, our best foot forward. We don't want to make big mistakes. I know there will be mistakes, but it shouldn't be so big that we can't get out.
You know what usually happens is that for such huge productions, a company, and let's say SA, and in SA they do this a lot. So they would send their reporter to go and cover the story, but since they've already paid for your flight tickets and they paid for XYZ, you know, accommodation, per diems and others, they'll have you do other reports in the country. So there's also a fine time to make sure that all other sectors are solid. You like tourism, you mentioned all these other sectors are really, really solid. It's a good opportunity to showcase the country. Now, this event seemingly has not flopped, for want of a better word, in Nigeria when it was held for the 3 successive years. So if it happens in Ghana and it flops, it will be such a huge embarrassment, even to the state. Would you not agree?
We're not expecting that to happen. You see, Ghanaians have always complained that we don't get the best in terms of entertainment, in terms of creative art, always comparing ourselves to Nigerians. Nigerians are doing this better than us. Why are we hailing Nigerian musicians and all that? So if we are hosting now, it means that there is something in us we want to show to the whole world. Okay, and we believe we can. So let's do everything possible to make this work. I know the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is in support of this. They are working so hard to make this thing a very beautiful show. So let's do that. But the organizers should also be very, very, very careful about all the other things we've spoken about. I know they have projected all these things. They could happen. If you're an event organizer, you know such things happen once in a while. So you know that you have to have alternatives in case any of the things pop up. So let's do that. And I'm very happy we're not having the main event at the Fantasy Dome because the Dome has bad acoustic features, you know. When the song is playing, it echoes at the other end. Wow! Because of the tent and how it is being structured. So I'm very happy it is happening at the conference center, and they should put in their best, check the sound so well, so that we don't have any of those hiccups at the event.
Okay. Fantastic. Now we shall be moving on to before that, we have some artists performing on Thursday.
Yes, tonight we have Kwame Eugene is on.
Kiddy is on. There's supposed to be Shatter on.
Fali Pupa is on. And a lot of African artists.
It's
a lot of African artists.
And I'm excited actually.
Okay. So now we'll jump straight to the countdown. The countdown. City Top 10 countdown, and it's fantastic. So I want us to discuss the countdown. Do you have the list of the artists?
I do.
Okay, so let's start with number 10.
Okay, number 10, Article 1 featuring Joey B. Yes, it's Hallelujah. So
you like that song?
It's not my favorite. It's all right.
It's all right.
But it's good enough to be at number 10. So I like that.
Okay.
So there is Stoneboy with Small Time Done. So that I love.
That's number 9.
Yes, that's in number 9. And there is the beautiful, sexy, sensational Wendy Shea with Hasta La Vista. You like that song? I love that song.
I don't know. I think post that particular interview where she made that comment, maybe my perception of Wendy Shea personality and even music, sadly it has transcended to even her music. So I'm not such a huge,
she's still a good artist.
I'm not such a huge fan.
Hasta La Vista is a good song.
You broke him out.
I'm just saying it's just a personal perception thing. It has transcended, so it might take a while. Of course, human beings we err all the time, so it will take a while. But of course, she's probably.
I'll make you a lover soon
of
Wendy Shea. Yes.
No, don't worry, it's fine.
Number 7, the man who called Ghana a village in the United Kingdom, Mr. Shatawale. Mr. Dancehall King, Mr. Controversial. At number 7, he has his song My Level. I love my level actually.
You like My Level? I think my Level also became huge. I think it was second most popular song at the Congress weekend. Or it was even the first. It was played more times than Bobo Bobo. Bobo Bobo was meant to praise maybe one particular individual, former President John Dramani Mahama. But My Level was maybe to tease those who actually did not win and those who want to praise them as well. So My Level, fantastic song. Shatawale, still don't really like the personality, but the song is
good.
You don't like his personality?
No, he's awful sometimes, isn't he?
It's quite insulting to call the Republic of Ghana a village.
That is a brand, though. It's a brand he's created for himself.
Well,
anyway. Why do you like that like that? Okay, and number six is Kwesi Arthur featuring Kiddy. Don't Keep Me Waiting.
That's right.
I love that song.
Two very fantastic individuals.
Yes. So Take featuring Kwame Eugene. Kwani, the Famikodo. And then we have Kiddy with If I Leave You. Number 4. Thunder Fire. When You Left Me.
Huh?
Yes.
Why are you saying this thing on camera?
Thunder fired you.
It was supposed to be a secret.
Wow. Everyone knows now.
Wow.
I'm now with
Kwame
Dadzie. He's treating me very nice. Kwame, don't worry, your wife doesn't know. She won't tell her, she's not watching. So at number 3 is R2B's featuring Wizkid, Dziffa. I love that song. I
love that song too. I love that. That's number 3.
Number 2. Drum rolling. Kwame Eugene seems to be dominating the charts. He's everywhere.
He's working hard.
He's working extremely hard. So Kwame Eugene featuring Davido, Meje. This song has actually put Kwame Eugene on a certain level. People have been comparing him to Davido from this song. They are like, Davido seemed to have been a bit chilled in the song, and Kwame Eugene seems to have been the one shining. But that's what people
I personally don't like this song.
You don't like it?
Accra is number 2.
Whether I like it or not, it doesn't move me like the other songs.
It is nice, so.
Okay, now number 1.
Number 1. I love this guy.
Which one?
I love him.
What's number 1?
You know him. I love him. I sit next to you.
What's number 1?
It's a Stone Boy featuring Sean Paul. Most original.
Most original.
Yes,
you have to love that song. You have to love that. I don't know a single person who does not love that song. From all walks of life, all ages. Stone Boy, Sean Paul, most original. You have to love that song.
Yes.
Anyway, so final comments, Kwame Dadzie and Sarkodie. Kwame.
So final comments. We're looking forward to seeing a good show, Afrima, from now to Saturday, and then to the politicians. They should not take creative artists for granted. Because they are very important in society.
Fantastic.
My final comments as well. I'll be at the AFEMA. I'll be there with the city crew to see how it goes. I know it will be brilliant. I know Ghana is ready. And also to the politicians. The people in the creative arts sector, we need a push. We are the best people to showcase what Ghana is. Through our music, through our drama, through our fashion, through our painting. And to the top 10 city countdown. I'm very excited about tomorrow's top 10 city countdown. I can't wait to see what number 1 will be. I think I know already, but I'm not telling you.
It's okay, don't say it yet. Anyway, so of course, thank you very much, Kwame Dadzie, and thank you very much, Adwoa, Sarkodie. That's how we draw the curtains on the entertainment segment for today. Up next, Dziffa has a very, very interesting discussion, so do not go anywhere. Stay tuned to Breakfast Daily.
Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, world. You're in tune to the Breakfast Daily on CTTV. Stoneboy says so. Keep it locked. Don't log off. Beep.
Now come dance to the beat. Bend down, shoulder, shoulder. What's up, everyone? Miss V. Right now, you are watching Breakfast Daily. Don't go sweat. I'm Jennifer Ajaman, corporate trainer and life coach. Keep watching Breakfast Daily only on City TV. Hi, good morning. My name is Michelle Atto. You're tuned into Breakfast Daily on City TV. Good morning.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily on CCTV. Now from entertainment to our churches. Ghanaians, I think about 70% of us are Christians. We attend churches and we always love our leaders. But sometimes once the pastor, the head pastor of some churches pass on, we struggle to sustain the same level of enthusiasm, excitement, and everything else that comes with the church. So today we're going to discuss transitions and successions in Ghanaian churches. I've been joined by Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Ansah, who is the convener at the Kingdom Equip Network. The Kingdom Equip Network is made up of individuals and organizations seeking to promote good governance within and amongst churches, power church institutions, and society as a whole. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Okay, tell us a bit about yourself, firstly, and your interest in this space.
Well, to cut a long story short, because of time, I've been serving Christ for the greater part of my adult life.
Wow.
Since maybe 1975, I've been a Christian, committed to Christ. And but I've been involved in different aspects of ministry.
Wow.
I'm a pastor now with the Covenant Family Community Church at East Cantonment. I also used to be the General Secretary of the National Association of Charismatic and Christian Churches. I served for 11 years. I'm the predecessor to Bishop Titi Ofair.
Wow.
And then I've been involved with this Kingdom Equip Network, which we started by the grace of God last year.
What inspired you for you guys to start the network?
After many years of service in the church, I found out that one of the common problems that bedeviled the church over the years is the area of governance. We're good, especially the Ghanaian church. We're good when it comes to preaching. We're good when it comes to
the spirituality,
other spiritual things, deliverance and all of that. But our ministries are not sustained. And one of the reasons why we're not sustained primarily is this area of the transitions and the successions, the way people foresee succession, people look at governance and all of that. So I've been thinking whilst I was serving, especially in the NAC, the National Association of Charismatic and Christian Churches, I said to myself, no, we've got to do something about this. We don't just talk about it. We must act on it. And so after my time of service, I studied some more about church pastoral planning and church management, governance, and I realized that we have the tools now, and we can organize others who have interest in this area to come together so that we can equip churches. And it's not only the charismatic churches, actually, it cuts across all denominations. And so that's what started Kingdom Equip Network. And one of the things we do, apart from counseling churches and leaders and setting up structures, advisory services, consulting and all of that, is this area. We engage.
Why is it important?
Very critical, because you see, the church is not on an island. We're supposed to be a light. And if churches are struggling with issues of succession, transition, it's not just a struggle. It leads to other things, acrimony, divisions, secessions, and a lot of bad blood.
But one will say that once the faith is strong and the spirit is high, the transitions should happen naturally. It's not something you have to work at, right? Because you're assuming you have this great pastor, there are a few people under him who can take over if anything happens. So it's not something we need to meet and deliberately make happen.
That's true, but let's understand that the church is made up of different people. Not everybody is spiritual, matured spiritually. So even when leaders, founders are alive, there will still be people who may not be mature. Even the founder himself or herself may not always be that spiritually high. There are moments that if you read the scriptures, you see people were up, sometimes they were down. So sometimes they make decisions which a good person may, with a simple intent, an open intent, make mistakes. And many church leaders have made mistakes when it comes to governance. And one of the areas that a lot of church leaders err often is in the area of the transitions and the succession.
So let's talk about that, because that's the theme.
Yes, that's right.
This
that's
year.
right.
So tell us a bit about what inspired the theme.
Okay. So the Ecclesia Roundtable series, we have different engagements with the public. Okay. This one is purely for clergy, mainly for clergy, about church policy and programs. We have another one we call ethics and values. That's for the public.
The public.
So
we'll talk about the ethics and values, but let's start with
for now, we're doing Ecclesia.
Okay.
Ecclesia it means the body of Christ or the church.
Ecclesia.
Okay, yeah, called out once. Ecclesia, the word ecclesia.
Ecclesia.
It means the body, the church. Now, we all denominations are involved in this.
Okay.
And so
when you say all denominations, what do you mean?
We have the Roman Catholic fathers are coming to speak.
Okay.
We have the Methodists, we have the Presbyterians, Charismatic, Pentecostals, different denominations. All, but there will be lead speakers.
Okay.
And the lead speakers for this one in particular will be Reverend Apostle Professor Opokunyina, who just retired from the Church of Pentecost as chairman, and also of the Ghana Pentecostal Council.
Wow.
And then we had also the former Methodist Bishop Mensah, who is also still active in the ministry, though, but teaching and consulting and helping. And then we have Bishop Godwin Kisei, who's a Life International Church.
Wow, so we have a diverse
and
group.
Then I'm speaking, yes. And then there will be Reverend Dr. Dadzie and others who in the background are also going to contribute to the discussion. So it's a thorough engagement.
So we're looking at a picture here.
Okay, this is
Apostle
Opokunyina.
Wow.
Opokunyina, yeah, that's Opokunyina.
Wow.
And then that's me.
Yes,
over there.
Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Ansah.
Okay.
So we'll get a diverse
This is
group
Adwoa
of
Mensah, Bishop Adwoa Mensah.
Wow.
Yes. Then we have Godwin Kisei, Bishop Godwin Kisei.
And all these bishops agreed that this is a necessary conversation.
Sure. And many more, not these ones alone, many more also believe that it's time for us to talk. Because as you'd notice, on the charismatic front, we have a lot of leaders aging, getting to 60 and beyond.
People that we grew up with, or maybe we came to meet. We're used to seeing them. We don't want to see anyone else.
Well, that's it. And we need to manage that. And it's not a one-man decision. It's a corporate body. And it's not only a denominational decision. Because whatever happens in one church affects all of us.
But if you're so used to, guiding the church, serving the church, being the active face of the church, how do you now say, let me take a step back and deliberately start working on this transition? Well, is it difficult?
You might as well say Wesley should have been alive. You might as well say Calvin should still have been alive.
But you do know some of us go to church for specific pastors because we are used to seeing them. We were born with them. We are not comfortable seeing anyone else.
I won't take that from you, but the reality is that every human being has a lifespan.
Yeah.
Even if you live in your time to be 70, 80, 90, a time will come. So we need to manage that well. And it's not as though you have to force people out of their roles.
Yeah.
And let's look at it broadly. There are churches, the other denominations that have been existing for many, many years. Members still, in fact, some of them have even the largest numbers, and they are not tied to personalities. So we need to find out, is Christ the focus or me? And so we need to help each other to come out of that. It's an issue.
But it's a tough path to
walk,
don't
doubt.
You think?
I mean, to think about the vision, fear that maybe the vision God led you to start may be distorted. Yeah. The fear that something you labored for many years, people will just come in and suddenly you are irrelevant, you are insignificant. Even what you eat is a problem. These are realities. The honor that you used to have is taken away and all of that. So it's not something that to say, hand over to some, that's not what the meeting is about.
It's a long-term process.
There are issues that we need to engage. All these emotional, psychological, spiritual dimensions of the transition needs to be discussed. And it's not only, as I said, it's not just about the charismatic churches, but even the traditional churches have their own peculiar problems with their transitions.
How important is it to talk about it now? Because we've known of these issues, but no one really talks about it, right? But bringing it out in the open to say, this is something that we need to start addressing.
Yeah, you see, the church represents Christ. Christ said that by this shall all men know that you are my disciples if you have love one for the other. If you look at church contentions throughout history, and especially in our part of the world, one of the major causes of division is leadership transition because of the way it's managed. If it's not well managed, if people feel insecure about the way leadership is running, maybe a particular group, family or network of people, ethnocentric, whatever, is hijacking the situation. They feel that it may not be real, but if they feel that illusion, they may react to it. And usually you see, go to many churches that have had divisions historically in our nation, that have been in the courts for years. And you see that most of it is tied to, there's very few of it tied to doctrine.
So from your research, how do we still successfully transition while still empathizing with the insecurities of the people within the institution?
The critical thing is that you need to know that it's not just one issue that's looked at. We look at, if for example, if you're looking at a church that has a founder, a living founder, you need to look at what I call the how of succession, the honor, the ownership, and the welfare. How are people who start ministries going to be honored in their lifetime and after they're gone? That's one of the points of contention a lot of times. That if I feel that my honor is going to be compromised, by A or B, I hold on. If there's a sense of ownership, you know, the fact that I'm out of office as president, whatever, how relevant am I to decision making in terms of the ownership of the vision, the direction of the ministry, and all of that? When I suggest things, would I be taken serious? Can I say that, oh, when God called me and gave me this particular vision, maybe what you guys are doing is totally different. Will you respect that view? And then also the issue of the well-being, because, I mean, much as the scripture says that don't muzzle the mouth of the ox, the one that brings the bread. So, yes, much as people, we say that in the kingdom, man shall not live by bread alone. That's true. But at the end of the day, when people leave the scene, maybe 60 years, 55 years, 70 years, and they are out there, they need to keep going. And if their families, they need to keep going. And some of these dynamics need to be looked at by churches, and we help churches to develop it. So there are many other factors that we will consider, but these are, in a nutshell, the main ones.
Is this open to the public? So it's happening November 23rd, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
Wow, tomorrow at 8:30 a.m.
That's right.
Are we all invited?
Sure.
So we
all
can all
invite. I mean, of course, the core group is the clergy, the academia related
so if
to
they are
but
all
any
watching,
other person who is interested, if you want to, even maybe as a leader of your church, you want to contribute to the way your church is governed. Because it won't be just transition succession we'll discuss. Other things will come up in the course of it. Even the legal issues relating to churches, the status, all will come up. So it's going to be a broad, open discussion.
And it's from 8:30 to 1:30 p.m. It's happening at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Science around the airport residential.
That's right, behind Golden Tulip. Behind Golden Tulip. Alliance Française Road.
Perfect. And is it free to attend? Is there a ticket?
Yes,
it's free.
It's
okay,
free.
so the core group we are talking to, we want to attend are churches, power church institutions, society as a whole, researchers, just anyone who is curious about this space. Sure. Any last words for us?
Well, I think that it's not enough to start ministries and churches and anything to do with God, but we should think about the sustainability. If churches in the West, which came with missionaries to Ghana and to Africa, have succeeded, 300-400 years, 500 years, are still surviving, I think that our ministries can learn from the best practices and improve on that. So it's a useful thing for people to come around and to learn how did they make it, instead of just having our churches just die with the leaders.
And my co-host is curious how he can follow more on Kingdom Equip Network. Do you have a social media?
Yes, we are online. But
I love your graphics.
Thank you. We also have an office on the 37. What do you call Bema Camp Road.
What other services do you provide?
We provide, apart from the training and public engagement, we provide consultancy services to churches and church leaders who need help. Counseling services we provide. When I say consultant, like if a church wants to draft a constitution, for example.
Just the church governance bit
issues,
of the church.
Yes, we do all of those details for them.
Wow.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
It's important. I mean, we are both, I'm spiritual, you're religious. We are all very, very involved with churches, but you never really think of the governance or administration aspect of the churches. And I think we should pay as much attention and detail to that to sustain it. Like you're saying, There are churches that have been around for centuries, and we should have local churches like that.
Right, thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast Daily.
Thank you so much. Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Ansah, who's the convener of the Kingdom Equipped Network. The event again is the Ecclesia Roundtable Series 2018. This is the second edition, and it's happening tomorrow from 8:30 to 1:30 p.m. at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Science, right around Alliance Française. And
Okay, so thank you all guys also for joining us on Breakfast Daily. It's been, a warm show, I must say. It's been quite warm. Once again, may the soul of our beloved Emmanuel Ansah rest in perfect peace, and our hearts are with the family
and friends.
As well. So this has been Breakfast Daily. My name is Wilberforce Mensah.
And I am Dziffa Ametam. Please have a productive day. We will see you same time tomorrow.
What's keeping refugees in Kenya's Kakuma camp from getting clean energy? How educating and understanding bias is helping transracial adoption families. And ballet dancers of color welcome new shoe hues. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. Tonight we begin in Kenya, where gunmen kidnapped an Italian volunteer and shot and wounded a woman and 4 children late Tuesday in the Kilifi region, 60 kilometers inland from the coastal tourist resort of Malindi. According to police and witnesses, the men armed with AK-47 rifles seized the 23-year-old woman from a guest house in Chakama town. Police say they have not identified the attackers, and so far, no group has claimed responsibility. 2 witnesses told Reuters they heard Somali. The woman was taken after she came out of her room to find out what was going on. That's according to witnesses who spoke to Kenyan TV stations. The attackers opened fires. They left, wounding a woman and 4 children. A 10-year-old child was shot in the eye and a 12-year-old was hit in the thigh. The Italian charity the woman was working for, Africa Milele, says it helps orphan children. It is the first abduction of a foreigner in the area since raids blamed on Somali Islamist militants 6 years ago. Now, for more on the Kilifi attack, Ryle Mbor joins me by phone from Kilifi. Good evening, Ryle.
Good evening, Vincent. How are you?
I'm fine. Now, one of the things that we heard from there is that there were some suspects and the police were kind of following up on that. Do we know how far they've gone with this, and do they know who these people could be?
So no information has been, the identities of the suspects have not been revealed, and the police have not actually revealed much information, apart from when earlier they had actually tweeted the number of people and their names who had actually been wounded during the attack. So right now there are no names, and we are not sure
who did it. Now,
Hello?
Yes, I hear you. A number of people are also beaten up. There were some people were wrapped up. We saw video that you actually sent of some fellows who had been beaten up really bad. Why? Who are these people and why were they being beaten up?
So the area where the abduction took place is, the area is called Chakama, and this area neighbors the river Sabaki. And locals believe that the people who abducted this lady, whoever they are, must have crossed the river into the neighboring town known as Kararacha. So something interesting about the town Kararacha, the town that neighbors Chakama, is that the people who live in this area are actually pastoralists from the Orma community, and the locals of Changame believe that these are the people actually who are causing instability in the region. So we arrived at the scene at around 12 p.m. and there are buses on transit. There are buses on transit that pass that route, and they actually have some of these Orma people on board. And these Orma people, they look, they're more of, the people actually say they are Somalis, and they flashed them out and they were beating them and accusing them of causing instability in the area.
Now, there were, one of the witnesses said that they heard these people say they want money from this young lady. Did it appear to them like it was a robbery, or this is a kidnap for ransom?
According to the witnesses we spoke to, this was an incident that was planned well. According to the witness we spoke to a local chief, Mr. Albert Chome, who said that this looks like a clearly planned event, because he says 3 days earlier, a man had actually booked a house at Chagama Guest House, and he had introduced himself to the people as a pastoralist who keeps goats. And the people had actually welcomed him into the community. So what is shocking is that Mr. Alfred Chome says that this same man is one of the 4 men actually who took part in this incident.
Well, we thank you very much for being there for us, and we hope we get some more updates perhaps tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Ryle. Ryle Mbo, reporting from Kilifi in Kenya. Now, one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is to provide clean and reliable energy to people worldwide. The residents of the Kakuma refugee camp in northern Kenya are among those in need of better energy sources to light, cook, and work in their homes. But progress has been held up by their murky legal status and their lack of money to buy the products. Mohammed Yusuf reports.
Most refugees living in Kakuma have grown up using candles or kerosene-powered lamps to light their homes. This year, some have switched to solar power and say they like the savings.
Life is
very difficult before because we didn't have the technology we have today. Before, we were buying kerosene costing 100 shillings to light our home. We were incurring lots of expenses day after day. If you compare the expenses now, I'm only spending 30 shillings a day.
The United Nations Global Initiative for 2030 aims to provide clean, reliable and sustainable energy to people as part of an effort to elevate poverty, improve lives and raise living standards.
The target is definitely achievable, and it has to be achieved. However, the pace that we are moving at does need to be significantly accelerated. A sustainable energy access is not going to be reliant on aid and handout, but rather on a robust market ecosystem.
So the UN is working with the private sector, technicians, financial institutions, humanitarian agencies and governments to move toward the goal. Currently, World Bank figures show 6 out of 10 people living in sub-Saharan Africa have no electricity, and the situation is even worse in rural areas. Some observers say the legal status of refugees, the fact they are not allowed to work, and doubts that they can afford to pay the alternative energy have put off companies from investing in these camps.
Frequently there's this misperception that people don't have access to money, and in some cases that's true. But if we can tap into the limited resources that development partners and donor agencies have, and the money that people have in their pocket, we can help make everything more efficient, make the whole system more efficient, more competitive, so people have access to greater opportunities and greater options.
David Marno's children, who do their studying by solar-powered lamps, are living proof that alternative energy has a future in Kakuma and other places where refugees are forced to gather. Mohammed Yusuf for VA News, Kakuma, Kenya.
Well, the United Nations is hosting a series of workshops tackling hate speech and incitement of violence in fractured South Sudan. Maya Womersley has the details.
These people know the tragic consequences of hate speech. Like millions of others, they fled ethnically charged bloodshed in South Sudan, finding their way to this protection of civilians, or POC, camp. Here, the UN's launched a series of workshops to help people identify hate speech and mitigate its impact.
Their situation is also related, it's a consequence of hate speech and incitement to violence. So to be able to combat hate speech properly, we should really involve those who have been also victims and those who are also part of the population. And that's why we thought that community leaders in the POC would be a good target group to work on that and make sure that they will be able to send the message, to convey the message to their members.
The world's youngest nation descended into an ethnically charged conflict in 2013 in a dispute between President Salva Kiir and his former vice president, now rebel leader Riek Machar. The government signed a peace deal with rebel factions in September. But Mary Nehemiah Tut, one of the workshop's participants, says if hatred and hate speech remain pervasive in communities, then the conflict will not end.
It's better to sit down, reconcile, talk to each other and see how to overcome hatred and hate speech.
The workshops were organised by the Human Rights Division of the United Nations Mission in South Sudan.
Well, that report was filed by Maya Womersley of Reuters now. Both sides in the Yemenis' 3-year war signaling they may be ready to end the fighting. The Saudi-led military coalition, which supports Yemen's internationally recognized government, has ordered a halt in its offensive on the key Yemen port of Hodeidah, the country's main entry for food imports. Now, the Iran-backed Houthi rebels say they are stopping drone and missile strikes on the coalition forces. Viewers Laditza Hoke reports the United Nations is pushing for a ceasefire to end the raging humanitarian crisis in Yemen.
According to the United Nations, at least 10,000 people have been killed in the war in Yemen so far, and millions of people have no reliable access to food. UN officials say the bombing of civilians, blocking access to food aid, and other violations of humanitarian principles have caused the world's worst man-made humanitarian disaster.
This is not on the brink of a catastrophe. This is a catastrophe as we speak.
The conflict is seen as a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. A British-drafted UN resolution calls on the warring parties to cease attacks and negotiate for peace. Saudi King Salman said Monday his country will support the international effort, but it has a duty to protect Yemenis against Iran's interference.
The international community has to work to put an end to the Iranian nuclear program and stop its activities that threaten security and stability in the region.
Houthi rebel leaders agreed to stop rocket and drone attacks on the coalition forces if Saudi Arabia is genuinely interested in peace. The two sides are expected to meet for peace talks in Sweden by the end of the year.
Regarding the dialogue, we are ready for a dialogue at any time when there is a real dialogue leading to peace. If the UN Special Envoy for Yemen comes, we are ready for a dialogue. If he doesn't come, we are ready to fight until the last breath.
UN's Special Envoy for Yemen, Martin Griffiths, has promised to accompany the Houthi representatives from the Yemeni capital of Sana'a if necessary.
This is a crucial moment for Yemen. I've received firm assurances from the leadership of the Yemeni parties, the governor of Yemen, of course, first, and then Ansarallah, that they are committed to attending these consultations. I believe they're genuine, and I expect them to continue in that way and to appear for those consultations, and indeed so do the Yemeni people, who are desperate for a political solution to a war in which they are the main victims.
The draft resolution on Yemen, presented to the UN Security Council on Monday, calls for an immediate truce in the port city of Hodeidah and sets a 2-week deadline for the warring sides to remove all barriers to humanitarian aid. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our show live on Facebook, so check us out and share our show with your friends. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince McCory. Still ahead on Africa 54, the challenges of transracial adoptions. But first, a look at Wednesday's headlines.
In Kenya, police say around 8 gunmen kidnapped an Italian volunteer along Kenya's coast and wounded several people, including 3 children. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, residents of Beni, the area hit with violence, expressed frustration and uncertainty ahead of the upcoming elections scheduled for December 23rd. Zimbabwe's leadership change was hailed as a new political and economic dawn for Zimbabweans and widely celebrated, but little has changed since last November. In South Africa, the so-called AfriForum, an interest group representing Afrikaners, the 5% of the population descended mainly from Dutch, German and French settlers, has stepped up street protests against land distribution plans and what it calls the targeted killing of white farmers. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Well, Stephanie Paul teaches 4th grade at a public school in Washington State. Since adopting 3 black children, the white suburban mom has learned some uncomfortable lessons about how race affects perceptions of a student's behavior or academic performance. Research shows adopted kids are more likely than others to experience learning and behavioral problems, and black children are more likely than their white peers to be disciplined for such problems. In part 3 of our adoption series, VOA producer Claire Morin-Gibert has more details. Haiti Adams-Fitzpatrick narrates.
And one of my best friends came over to me and said, Timney just said she doesn't want to be your friend because you're black. That made me get mad and go walk out of class sometimes. And I would just go out of school and stuff.
So this is the behavior I was talking about. She would get punished for leaving class when class was an environment where kids were calling her out for the color of her skin.
Niara is the second of Stephanie Poole's 3 adopted children. The family lives in Seattle, Washington State. Stephanie teaches 4th grade at a suburban public school. Motherhood has taught her some hard lessons about how race can influence people's perceptions of a student's behavior or academic performance. She knows because she's seen it before with her son.
Yeah, Carter's already internalized that and said, I don't want to be black. And that's a horrible thing to hear your son say, that he doesn't want to be who he is, you know.
Like Niara, Carter has an attention deficit disorder and trauma-related problems. A school district psychiatrist evaluated him and said he had tendencies to be violent, aggressive and disruptive. Stephanie insisted those labels be removed from her son's specialized education plan.
I went right to the special ed department and said, I want these taken off, because this is literally the school to prison pipeline where we're talking about how can you list these descriptors of violent for a 6-year-old boy.
Nicholas Zill is a research psychologist in Washington. He's the co-author of a study for the University of Virginia's Institute for Family Studies that focuses on the academic performance of adopted children. There's extensive research on the subject. It shows adopted children are more likely to have learning and behavioral issues than other students.
The thing that's striking is that with many, a large minority and even a majority of adopted children often have behavioral issues in the classroom, and they have some difficulty getting along with other children at a higher rate than biological children do.
As a teacher and a mother, Stephanie knows some children struggle in school, but she sees the education system as a big part of the problem.
If you look at the curriculum, it's mostly white. If you look at books, they're mostly white. And all of these things just disenfranchise our kids of color year after year after year.
Researcher Constance Lynn having a teacher improve student outcomes. She was part of a team that analyzed the records of more than 100,000 black students in elementary and high schools. Those who had at least one black teacher had better results. Lindsay says it's the role model effect.
If you're growing up in a home that doesn't have a college-educated black person and you're able to see one at school who's your teacher, that might signal to you that, hey, I can do this too. If you have a white teacher who isn't trained in cultural competency and how to work with diverse students, it might be harmful for students.
Stephanie says they've flourished since moving from their Seattle neighborhood school to the Highline School District where she teaches, and where she says staff are trained to be sensitive to racial equity.
How much institutionalized racism is in our school structure is absolutely phenomenal. And I never had to realize that before I had black kids. And yet this has been the truth for all black families as far back as we can remember. But because I'm white, I never had to look at that.
Well, VOA reporter Claire Morin-Gibert now joins me to tell us more about her experience producing the interracial series. Claire, welcome to Africa 54, and forgive me for murdering your name.
No,
I feel like
you say it right.
French right now. So, tell us, this is a very fascinating series. What was it like for you? What are some of the things perhaps we may not realize through the stories that you learned or that you found very interesting?
As a journalist, it was a fantastic human experience. I was so lucky to meet so many beautiful families. At the same time, it was sad to realize that in 2018, in America, being black, it's still challenging. Bias and discrimination are still a major issue. I have to say that the most striking thing was to realize how powerless white parents are when they are confronted to racism, and they did not understand well at first.
And you know, people may say there are other interracial adoptions, could be Asian kids and all that. Is the black and white situation particularly challenging or interesting to observe?
It definitely is. Transracial adoption means that adopted kids do not share the same race as their adoptive parents. So you can have any combination possible. You have like Asian parents who can adopt Latino kids, but definitely we wanted to focus on one parent adopted black kids because this is where there are the most issues. I will give you just an example. If you have a black, especially with black boy, if you have a teenager at home and suddenly a burglar just break into the house, could he safely call the police? No. Yeah. So you have to teach him that if he is black, the police can think he is the intruder and shoot him. Stories happen all the time. So this is a very different way of raising your kid.
Yeah, you're kind of dealing with your own child, but you have to make them realize they're not like you. That's it. That's pathetic. What can we expect in the rest of the series?
So tomorrow we will focus on police brutality. We will meet Alex Lando in Denver. At 19, he was just going to get burger with a friend, and he was almost beaten to death by police. He survived and became one of the most prominent right activists in Denver. So a fascinating story. And on Friday, we focused on the quest of origin.
Yeah. Everybody wants to know where they came from.
Yeah,
right? Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Claire, appreciate very much for you coming here. So as we just mentioned, Claire Morin-Gibert's adoption series continues on Thursday with part 4. Now, at 19, Alex Lando was beaten by police in Denver, Colorado, after being stopped for an alleged traffic violation. Now, the incident transformed the young black man, not just because he won a hefty judgment against the city. Now he teaches young people and their parents about civil rights. His own white parents reflect on what they now call their naivete in thinking they could protect their son from racial bias. You don't want to miss this one, so be sure to join us on Thursday. Well, Welcome back to Africa 54, and here's what's trending. Communicating the latest tips and techniques that can help farmers in a timely and accessible manner can be a challenge, especially in Africa, where infrastructure tends to hamper efficient mass communication. That's where the Nairobi-based production company Media saw an opportunity. Its groundbreaking reality TV show Shamba Shape Up airs twice a week in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Shamba means farm in Swahili. The program is delivered in a practical documentary style that is keenly followed by over 5 million viewers in a region hungry for the latest and best agricultural practices. Research shows that 46% of its viewers have altered their farming methods since Shamba Shape Up's pilots aired in 2011. Well, next up, Cameroonian entrepreneur Boma Mohamed is on a mission to empower others to become more energy self-sufficient. He's training young people to turn waste into biogas and move away from the traditional source of fuel, firewood. Through his company, Royal Renewable Energy Cameroon, Mohamed runs regular courses at a cost of 15,000 CFA francs, or $26 US dollars rather, to train people on how to produce biogas from the decomposition of organic waste. Mohamed, along with the 10 people he employs and a handful of interns, have also been at the forefront of installing digesters, the machines to capture methane gas released by decomposing material in houses, schools and businesses in rural Cameroon. Mohamed also trains people on how to produce organic fertilizer. Well, and in other sustainability news, we all know that eating out our takeout meals with single-use plastic cutlery is damaging the environment, but sometimes there is just no alternative. Or is there? Well, industrial designer Pontus Turnqvist has created prototype throwaway knives, forks, and spoons that contain no plastic. The main ingredient is potato. This potato plastic cutlery range is made using potato starch, water, and glycerol. His cutlery decomposes in soil within 2 months. According to Turnqvist, up to 20% of farmed potatoes are rejected as undesirable and make their way into potato starch mix. And that's what is trending today. Well, now the typical image of ballerinas is of agile dancers moving effortlessly across the stage on the tips of their toes, their feet bound in shinky pink slippers, which seem to be part of their bodies. Now, unless the ballerinas' bodies are not white. An American company began offering brown-toned slippers last year, and last month, Britain's oldest ballet apparel supplier began offering shoes made to better match the skin color of non-white dancers. Viewers Mariama Diallo reports on the changing trend.
Dancing in a ballet slipper that matches her skin is an incredible feeling, says Chira Robinson, a step into the right direction. She's been dancing since she was 8 years old.
I think it's amazing, especially because times are changing and, you know, there's so many different colors out there, and ballet should be acceptable to everyone.
Made by Britain's oldest manufacturer, Freed of London, the new pointe shoes are available in bronze and brown, along with the traditional pink.
When I received these amazing Freed pointe shoes called ballet bronze, I felt like I was really lucky, because my first pointe shoes actually were super pink and super hard and everything, and it didn't match my skin color.
The 89-year-old ballet gear maker worked with the international dance company Ballet Black, whose dancers are all of Black and Asian descent, to create the new shoes. Marie-Astrid Mons is a junior artist who joined the company 4 years ago.
Finding your skin color in a ballet shop, it's something very special. You have the feeling you are part of the industry of dance, and you have the feeling that nothing is impossible because it's accessible and because your skin color is there.
Previously, dancers would have to perform a paint-caking ritual by using foundation makeup or other paint types to darken the standard issue pink shoes.
Even though that's how I grew up, you know, not knocking tradition and everything like that, but times are changing, and we need to see people who look like us. And in doing that, we need brown tights. brown shoes.
Dancing in shoes that fit their persona is no longer a dream. It's a reality that gives these ballerinas the feeling they are dancing on air. Mariama Diallo, VOA News.
Well, and that's it for today. Have a good night.
Hello and good evening. You're welcome once again to another exciting edition of Sister Sister. My name is Jessica.
Every Thursday night on City TV, you're welcome to join women from different backgrounds and opinions as they weigh in on your relationship issues. Watch Sister Sister as the ladies get real with issues about love, marriage, betrayal, sex, dating, trust, finances, and more.
Look, I'm telling you, sometimes you let your guard down. That's what I'm saying. Look, most of the time, my main problem is that when you unpack, don't go to the first gear. Once you hit the first gear, you are likely to go to second, third, fourth, fifth. You understand? So just don't attempt it. So once you attempt it, maybe the first day, because you're careful and da-da-da-da. And sometimes we mistaken when you meet an intellectual lady, you know, a very well-spoken lady, a very sharp, beautiful lady. You think that they are pure. They can't possibly have any impurities or anything with them.
Join Jessica and her sisters for City TV's all-women talk show, Sister Sister, every Thursday at 9 p.m. Sister Sister is sponsored by Fritol.
Hello and welcome to 2020 News here on City TV. My name is Mina W. Coming up, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon, Emmanuel Ansah passes on. Also, bizarre incidents of police officers fighting immigration personnel over the arrest of some suspected cyber scammers and forcefully freeing the individuals. To the details now. The Ayawaso West Wagon Member of Parliament Emmanuel Ansah has passed on. Sources close to the family and the governing New Patriotic Party tell City News he passed on last night in a hospital at the United States after a short illness. Mr. Ansah was the Member of Parliament for the Ayawaso West Wagon constituency since 2012 after he replaced the current Chief of Staff, Freeman Pare, as the MP for the area. There is more about him in this news desk report.
A former chief executive officer of the then Food and Drugs Board, the Honorable Chairman Ejako, hails from Odumasi Krobo in the Eastern Region. He was chairperson of the Environment, Science and Technology Committee in Parliament. He also served on the Government Assurance and Health Committees. The late MP was a fellow of the Ghana College of Pharmacists and a brother of former Energy Minister Boakye Chairman Ejako. He was 61.
Now, the minority in Parliament has served notice it will resist attempts to increase the number of staffers at the presidency from 998 to 1,614 per the 2019 budget. The President, in accordance with Section 11 of the Office of the President Act, presented the list of 998 staffers to Parliament in April 2018, but debating the budget in Parliament, minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa insists it is insensitive for government to add up to the numbers at the presidency despite public outcry. Moving on, there was a near scuffle between some officers of the Ghana Immigration Service and their counterparts from the Ghana Police Service over some suspected cyber scammers. According to City News sources, the officers of GIS arrested a suspect but were allegedly attacked by police personnel from the Odoko Police Command who managed to whisk away the suspects. Our sources also alleged that the police officers showed up at the scene after the suspects contacted them on phone. A video cited by City Newsroom revealed how the police officers openly engaged the GIS personnel in the attempt to rescue the suspects. Now, applicants for the Ghana card in the Adenta municipality are accusing the officials of the National Identification Authority, NIA, of extortion. According to them, some of the officials demand money from them before registering them, contrary to the NIA's official requirements. City News' Anne Shelley Ziwu has more in this report.
The pilot registration of the Ghana card in the Adenta municipality is in its third and final week. The exercise from the start was fraught with many challenges, which have snowballed over the weeks. Ideally, applicants are expected to be registered and handed over their Ghana card within 30 minutes. However, many of them still have to wait days after registering to get their cards.
We came here on Monday. And actually, we filled our forms, and they said we should go and come, which is on Tuesday. Tuesday, we came here, and they were like, the network is slow. So we went back home. Today, we came, they said, same.
I came here at 5 a.m., and I've been here since they made us write our name in an exercise book. They are not really saying anything. I've not started my process. I've not filled any form. I've just been standing here, and they want me to go back home and come back at 2 p.m.
If there is no network, they can't do nothing. We have percent where we see that. Some people go. But we have percent, then we did. Before 4 o'clock, they did it for us. And say, so today I come back to my card, but they say the card no come yet.
Only Ghanaians are eligible to register, but it appears the Ghana card might not be completely Ghanaian. Compounding these issues, some of the applicants are accusing the officials of the National Identification extortion.
The officials here said the last week is the week that they are going to make a lot of money because there will be pressure. People who didn't come, because this is the third week for Adenta district, and so probably by Saturday they'll be going. So if you want to get it this week and you don't want to be in the queue, probably you have to pay something.
Considering the long unending queues and the substantial time it takes to acquire the card, some of the applicants called for an extension of the deadline to help others register and address all pending issues adequately. Public Relations Officer of the National Identification Authority, Francis Pamdeti, addressed these issues with City News.
In 2008, we conducted some registration, and the data we collected in 2008, we still have some of that data with us. That data has not been discarded. So when with this registration, anytime an applicant goes through the process, before a card is issued, the information would go and do a deduplication in our system. What it means is that it will check whether that information is already in our system. If that information is already in our system, it will have to go to adjudication. And adjudication is where a determination is made whether the individual is attempting to register twice, or it may be a case of him or her having registered in the old system, and the feedback we are getting is because of that. That would also be determined before it is issued. So under those circumstances, the card cannot be issued to the individual instantly. But we want to assure those whose cards have not been issued yet, even though they've registered, they didn't get their cards instantly, that they would get their card. This particular registration we are conducting is for Ghanaians. So foreigners are not supposed to register during this process. Now, the law makes provision for individuals to challenge any person who they consider to be ineligible.
It is the wish of many Ghanaians that the pilot of the Ghana card in the Adenta and Medina municipality will address all the challenges that will confront it when it is being implemented nationwide next year. Reporting for City News, I am Ansheli Enyunam Ziwu.
Now, the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, has placed a ban on the sale of cough syrups with codeine in pharmacies or chemical shops nationwide with immediate effect. According to the authority, the stringent measures follows the signing of an executive instrument by the Health Ministry to put on hold the sale of the drugs as there's an increase in abuse of the syrup. Speaking to City News, Head of Communications of the Food and Drugs Authority, James Lati, tells City News those who flout the directive will be sanctioned. You're still watching 2020 News here on City TV. Still to come, GN Bank and Premium Bank commence merger talks. We'll tell you more after the break. Don't go away.
City TV is live. City TV is a free-to-air digital channel. On a digital TV, please press menu on your remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a multi-TV digibox. Tune into City TV and experience your world. City TV, it's your world. Let's take you on a journey of discovery, the incredible sights, artifacts, music, and adventure. It is what makes life worth living. Our history, the arts, and soul. Art and Soul with Melissa Award. Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Only on City TV.
Art and soul, art, soul, art and soul, art, yeah, soul, art and soul, art, soul, art and soul.
Welcome back. This is 2020 News here on City TV. My name is Mina W. Next is business.